Target has Laundry Day covered because they offer a great selection of concentrated Tide Pods to help with all your laundry needs. Tide Pods clean, freshen, and help rejuvenate your clothes with odor fighters and stain removers. Did you know Tide Pods clean better than the leading liquid bargain detergent? Tide Pods are powerful enough to make your whites white and your brights bright, even in cold water. Just toss in 1 Tide Pod for small loads, 2 for medium, 3 for large. It's that easy. For great value and convenient pickup options, get Tide Pods today at Target.
It's official. Summer is almost here. The sun is getting brighter, the days are getting longer, and your yard is ready for some love. Make sure your flower beds and bushes can handle the heat with special savings on Earthgrow mulch. Keep the sun off your soil and water in the ground, plus add a fun pop of color that will last up to 12 months. Hurry in. Earthgrow mulch. 5 bags for just $10. Feels like Memorial Day at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid May 19th to 30th. In-store only. Color selection varies by store. Limit 75 per customer.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Hey, folks. Welcome to One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and we have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Chilling, man. Got a lot to get to. It is a big week. Double or nothing on the way. Like Magic Johnson would say, AD is on the way, like how he was saying that before. Yeah, man. The big show is here. 3-year anniversary of AEW coming up. What else we got? We got Stephanie McMahon leaving WWE for the time being, or however that was strangely worded.
Indefinitely, I think.
Yeah.
There's another indefinite leave of absence that we also got to talk about.
Yeah. We got more on Sasha and Naomi because obviously, it broke while we were live last week. We didn't really know how to kind of handle that in the moment. But a lot of stuff has come out, and, I'm ready to talk about it. And of course, there's a new show. It's called World Entertainment Series. We're going to preview that card and look at it because
are we actually going to preview it, or are we just going to talk bad about it?
I'm going to rip it to shreds.
We're going to talk bad about it.
To keep it honest, yeah. I'm going to talk very badly about these people.
Is it even available for like Fight or something or?
I'm not sure yet, but okay. I'm going to talk very bad about this card and then expose what this shit really is. So I guess we can begin with let's start with Stephanie. Stephanie McMahon taking a leave of absence to go spend more time with her family. She obviously has been in WWE a very long time. Since 1999 in various roles, whether it's an on-screen person working in creative, doing the chief branding officer stuff. It seems like Stephanie's role has kind of been peeled back over the years, to say the least. Like, she's kind of been like more removed from it, like as far as like your everyday, like you're obviously she's on a board of directors and stuff like that. But when you think of WWE and the business and everything, she was pretty far away from that part of it. And seeing her take a step back from this, I'm like, that's strange. When she sent this whole thing out, everyone in the company found out from the tweet. So that sets off some bells. I'm not a conspiracy man.
I'm sorry, what?
Wink, wink. But I do have an idea of what I think could be going on. It's not as wild as some other conspiracies I have, but it makes perfect sense when you think about it.
I wish there was someone that was a hardcore fan that we had that could slice in video or audio of like on a YouTube video of like you going straight to the Triple H shit from like the summer. Yes, I'm not. I'm kind of mild. I'm not going to go in and all just smash edit into some of the absurd things you've said over the years.
So,
what you got on this one, man?
I'm wondering well, before I get there, Nick Khan is going up the Mortal Kombat ladder on this thing. The Daniel Bryan thing was right, though. I stand on that. Sam, for sure. But Nick Khan is taking over her duties, and supposedly they're going to hire someone eventually to fill that role. So everything for me feels like the company's setting up to be sold. So when Stephanie throws that line in, like she plans to return, I'm like, to what? Like, if they sell the company, what incentive do they have to hire you back?
I mean, outside of the part where, like, allegedly, or by all accounts, she's really good at her job. Because obviously, when you get a new ownership in there, they're going to want to put in their people, just like it is with, anything. But, I think her name alone, her last name alone, like, gives her some type of credibility to her being able to sell, advertising partnerships with, and branding opportunities with, partners with that name, because people were like, that McMahon is synonymous with pro wrestling for the last 40 plus years or whatever, close to 40 years with pro wrestling. And I think that, I think there is a reason to keep her around besides just the part where she's good. She's allegedly is good at her job. But, if she were to, if the company were to be sold and she were to transition out or whatever else, that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
I'm like wondering, for years, we always saw Triple H, we saw Stephanie, and we were like, when Vince dies, it goes to them. Shane is come and gone from these positions. Triple H is come and gone from these positions now. And all that is left is the glad-handing yes man, John Laurinaitis, and Bruce Pritchard, and then Big Dick Nick Khan, like, who's cleaning up everything, it seems like. This is kind of wild when you think about it, because it's like, why else would you gut the succession plan on this? Like, other than, we about to sell this shit. We're open for business. But as far as Stephanie, like, what I think the deal is with her, I think she's going into politics.
Like Linda?
Like Linda. And I think she'll be way more effective at it because she is a more charismatic public speaker. Let's keep it a buck.
That's to put it lightly.
Look, she's a lot prettier and easier on the eye and younger.
I'm not touching that part.
Like when we start looking at those demographics with that voting block, I imagine Stephanie McMahon would be quite popular than the little old lady, personally. I think she's going to politics. And if you start looking at the time where the next election is coming, what is that, about 18 months away? Maybe like 2 years away, like 30.
If you're talking about midterms,
yeah, like well, not the midterm, the next presidential election.
Oh, yeah, okay, so 2024. Yeah, primary starts in
So if she was someone who was either a key fundraiser, we already know the ties run deep with the McMahons and the Republican National Committee and everything like that. I feel like Stephanie's an easy person that slides right in. I mean, I don't necessarily know what's, like Linda's obviously front-faced herself as being committed with the Republican Party. I have not heard whether Stephanie is as well, but
what do you think?
Yeah, as far as like what I think,
if I remember correctly, wasn't her and Triple H and her kids, and maybe even Vince were in a picture at the Oval Office with Trump?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is that.
We'll see, but what do you think?
Yeah, we'll see, but that does exist. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she's gonna go for that, and then try to either get in Senate, try to help WWE from another avenue. I feel like it's a lock personally.
I never thought about it, but I mean, she'd be good at it. Quite frankly. I look at a lot of the women in the GOP, and I think some of them, because a lot of them came from the far right, like a lot of them, with Bobart and even like as far back as like Sarah Palin to even like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like they do not have like the PR chops that a Stephanie McMahon does. So yeah. So just off of that alone, yeah, and also where she comes from, like, yeah, I think she'd be really good at politics. The problem is, I like Stephanie more than the average wrestling fan. Like, I already know her political leanings. I feel like, I don't really have much on the wrestlers where they have different politics than I do. If they do good work, it's like I can compartmentalize the part that like I disagree with them on just life, right? But if they like they got life fucked up, it is what it is. But they're good at the pro wrestling. Like, but once she gets into that, that's gonna have to change. Like, it's one thing when Kane was just whatever else. Now Kane is like a real fucking problem.
That man's a menace to society.
Yeah,
bad news.
Yeah. So like, if once Stephanie steps over that line, he's gonna be like, well, gotta let you go. I'll let you go.
Yeah, so you heard it here first. Oh, it is my turn to draft coming up. So, that thing's still going.
I think there's only like a couple picks left.
Yeah, so maybe we can do like some type of show or some type of segment where we talk about our full rosters. But yeah. So we'll see, but. End of an era for sure with Stephanie like leaving. And yes, Lothario Negro brings up a great point. Stephanie's going to look like a sensible brunette next to MTG. She's going to be a problem. Like,
yeah.
So yeah. So in other news,
I'm sorry, we can't. We can't let that go. Do you like the other week, Marjorie Taylor Greene, like? They asked her, obviously because of January 6th, like, they asked her, like, so do you help out with X, Y, and Z? And she was like, I can't recall. I bet you can't recall.
Yeah.
I bet you can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can
amazing.
Move over there.
Sasha Banks and Naomi, they have this company scrambling in ways that I haven't seen, it's in a long while, to be frank. There are a lot of people that have, surmised what may be happening, at least from Sasha's perspective. Naomi's kind of seems like a secondary piece in this thing because everyone kind of defaults to worrying about Sasha.
It's also like Sasha's been a squeakier wheel for way longer.
Yeah. Like, obviously, she had to, in 2019, she requested her release back in April of 2019 before, not showing up for a while. But WWE's gone out of their way to bury these women in a very nasty way, on their television, on their official social media channels. And I was quite shocked when I saw like Michael Cole just looking dead into the camera. Pat McAfee had this look on his face like, I ain't got shit to do with this.
Right. The faces he was making was like, I ain't got shit to do with this. I'm learning this as y'all are, and like I think y'all tripping. So he kept making these faces like, y'all bugging the fuck out over and over. Y'all bugging. Y'all are bugging and bugging and bugging. So like Pat McAfee did very well for himself during those faces. He knew like, let me remove myself from y'all bullshit because there will be time for me to have some credibility as a wrestling fan outside of y'all nonsense. And he did well with it. Even if it was intentional or not, he did himself he did himself a big favor by making those faces. He really did.
Shouts out to T Mess, first time commenter. He said Cole looked like he was reading the kidnapper's demands when he was reading that. I think, they basically announced that Sasha and Naomi were stripped of the championships that they turned in and walked away from, and they would be having a tournament full of who knows who to have the new champions crown. We know those titles will be paper titles whenever they do them. Not really so much the important thing here, but as far as them just shitting on Sasha and Naomi, telling them they've disappointed millions of fans. They, when it looks like there was a situation where they may have left the building before the show was started, WWE knew they left, decided to go ahead and advertise anyway, just to be able to say, these people did not make their booking. Meanwhile, we saw SummerSlam last year. This company will change some shit in a heartbeat. So, I don't know if they...
they false advertise all the time. Yeah,
I don't know where they get off doing that. They are trying to win a war of PR against two women who are very beloved that would split the WWE fan base right in half, honestly. And it's interesting to see. I've seen some folks that I know normally fuck with Sasha and Naomi. They've come out very hard for Sasha. They realize what's going on. And Naomi, they're like, this is bullshit. And then others are just hook, line, and sinker WWE, they're ungrateful and all this stuff. And all this goes back to, James, this Sasha thing, this does not start with her on Monday night. No. This starts with her when she got moved out the way, I've been saying for months, without it having confirmed or anything like that. I'm if you just look at what was happening, it was going to be Charlotte and Sasha. That's why they pulled that program in the end of last year, to basically separate Sasha away from that, to have them fight at WrestleMania. And at least she's there in the big spot, in the title match, whatever. And then all of a sudden, she has to get happy out of nowhere to be in a tag team. We have to have people trying to tell us this matters because it's Sasha and Naomi. It's no, she got moved out the way for Ronda Rousey, who in 2022 is not a bigger star than Sasha Banks, especially to Sasha Banks. Good luck convincing Sasha Banks of this. And you think about this woman, that all she has done is watch Vince McMahon push Alexa Bliss, Charlotte, Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch over her for years, despite all of them being combined, never being able to touch her in the ring, never being able to connect with the hold that Sasha has had on people, even with an eighth of the push. It's Becky Lynch was took off, right? But I'm there's nothing that happened with Becky Lynch that made me think that couldn't have been Sasha if the company was committed to her at all.
I think I get where you're getting at. I think that Becky is so much better of a promo than Sasha that I'm not necessarily sure, but I do absolutely get where you're coming from. And quite frankly, Sasha should have been the one, period, to start out the box between those, or really, those two. It should have been Charlotte and Sasha going back and forth, kind of like what they were doing in 2016. And then, once they broke them apart, they should have been the aces of both brands. And, ultimately, that's not what they did. They kept them together on the same brand, moved Becky over to SmackDown. And then, after she was the first champion, they basically, moved her over to go with Alexa Bliss. And then we had to deal with that garbage for a year or 2 years, whatever else. And then, everyone looked around and was Becky and Sasha are so much better than her. What the fuck are we doing here with Alexa Bliss? And then, the Becky and Charlotte stuff happened and they fucked up the booking and the crowd wasn't going for it. And we are where we are now. They had 4 stars. All 4 of them became stars. None of them are as over as they should or for as long as they've been around, none of them ever were sustained as long as they should have because, like, Vince is a net booker and picked the wrong people to, like, have programs with them at the wrong time. And outside of, like, the 2018-19 Becky stuff, you're kind of looking at it like, yeah, we had some great matches. Yes, we had some great moments of great feuds, but, like, this ain't exactly King's Road here.
Yeah, right? Not at all.
Like, yeah, so, and like, I don't want to say like it was some disaster because, like, quite frankly, like, they're four of the most influential people in like my wrestling journey, if you will, the last or since we started doing the show. Like, they're super important to me in all of them, and I love all of them, even though, like, I don't really care for what they do anymore because WWE has them doing bullshit. But it's going back, trying to bring this back to focus more on the Sasha thing. Like, you mentioned that the part where she got moved around at WrestleMania, and it's like, you're right, it is about that. But it goes back even further to, like, this is her second time with these fucking tag titles. These cursed fucking tag titles.
Third time.
Well, as far as shit going bad.
Yeah.
It was like, she wanted to make these things matter to where you have the women's division doing things besides just having the contender of the month and the champion. That's all that matters for now until it's time to get the next person ready. And then, like, because it's, because there's no focus on the secondary thing, it's really hard to build new contenders. And
this is where WWE was dishonest with their women's revolution thing, right?
Yeah.
Because they put out a lot of propaganda that WWE is ridden off of for years. They'll give you a championship match that has a Becky and Bianca in it, right? Mm-hmm. But then the next day, there's like 90 women in a tag team match. Like,
the best example, the real best example of that is, like, they'll give you undefeated Asuka versus Charlotte in a great match, and the next day they take the fucking belt off of Charlotte after breaking Asuka's undefeated streak because they need to get it to Carmella, and then, like, have the Iconics, like, beat up Charlotte.
Like, the obvious answer for WWE in regards to it being more fair for what to do with women and to get things going outside of the championship picture was to take some time from the funky ass dudes. Like, as far as, like, why are we seeing an extra Baron Corbin match? Like, rather than, like, the answer was always push more women as far as, like, them having the grounds to do it. They had the audience that was accepting of it.
Yep, because they had put in the work to make stars out of it.
So, and it was like, we didn't actually want, like, a division, right? They wanted, okay, we have one match for the belt. And the women's divisions are so much different from the men's divisions because...
Especially now.
Because the men's divisions, if you say it like that, like, there are different spots allowed within the hierarchy under the title. I often talk about watching wrestling through only a championship prism being a limiting experience. But in women's wrestling, it's not like that. And it's not like that in AEW. It's not like that in WWE. It's like, yo, whoever's the champion is getting on the show, period, right? Yep. They're the one getting the matches typically. They're the ones getting the segment. If you're not the champion, it's hard to work a program with someone else and then have that time carved out elsewhere for you. And in Sasha's case, she was like, I do not want the tag team titles and me having these used in that same ass way that you've done to prop up the singles champion and put us all in this singular program. It's like, the answer should be, like, even if it seems like a lesser program, and I'm very disappointed in Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez for not seeing this, like, and looking at this in such a limited way where it was like, they're thinking like, you're wrestling Ronda in a big spot. What would you rather do between this and, defend the tag team titles against, Nikki or Doudrop or whatever? It's like, it's not necessarily about Ronda. It's about carving the opportunities. Obviously, Sasha does not want to be fed to Ronda Rousey right now. It doesn't make sense.
He's already done that.
It doesn't make sense, and it's like,
if we were in a men's promotion that was ran well, like, and you recognize that Ronda Rousey and Sasha Banks are two of your, let's say, 5 biggest stars or whatever else, You wouldn't just have somebody just come out here and just beat them over back to back at big spots way apart from each other. Like, you would build towards, like, you know, win one, win a second one. We're going to be a rubber match down the road that you're going to get in a year, and that's going to be at a bigger show. That's not how they do it in WWE because they're inept.
Yep, and then you know, Naomi getting a here damn title match out of it, like like no, and then like, you know, and what Brian was doing, and shout out to Mike Sempervive for basically calling Alvarez to the carpet, like saying, yo, you're not seeing this through the lens of these two women, let alone these two black women. I don't know if Mike was that specific, but I feel like I speak Sempervive and I know what he was trying to do and say, but Alvarez doesn't, like, he short circuits on the A, when it comes to Sasha Banks, and always. B, like,
who's
when
the heel?
The
ones that's saying the thing to get booed, or Brian, like, come on, I get what you're saying, that they're both acting like heels, but it's WWE. You know this company is bad at this,
right?
Just stop playing dumb. You know what's going on here,
right? And you know, and I can't take anyone seriously that doesn't realize, like, how to the degree Sasha Banks has been fucked around in this company, and I don't know if she'll ever be back at this rate. Like, the suspension, they pulled their merch, they yanked their Facebook pages, so they can't make money, they can't do anything really. Like, who knows if their contracts are frozen? There are people with theories out there that think this is something like where there's a 6-week term in, like, their contracts that will allow them to not freeze it because it may expire during a certain point. There's a great post on Squared Circle Reddit about it.
Go into that, because I don't know any of this.
So this is a person that, you know, I'm going to read out their thing. They said, let them lay out some facts. Sasha's, in her own words, on the Broken Skull session in 2019. She walked out April 8th of 2019. She canceled her TV appearances that day and went on leave. This was after the initial AEW press conference and before the Warner announcement. She says that on Broken Skull that she asked Vince for her release in person, and Vince told her no and tacked on 30 days, and she went to Japan. She was in Japan on July 2019 via her Instagram. Like, you can check it right now. So this person thinks she likely asked for her release in late June, and Vince said no, going by her interview. So it plays like she was planning to leave and go to AEW, screwed up the timing, and Vince froze her contract to add extra time. We'll get to that later, and eventually offered her a bigger contract than she was willing to pass on. So that was the re-signing and, you know, the extension that she signed or whatever. Kaz had reported, like, said something about her deal that was essentially what Dave said a week before that, that her expiration in 2019 was extended for likely 3 years. So that would put her in June 2022 now.
Okay.
This person thinks that she likely thought that she was out when she went in to ask for her release, and then Vince sprung the extra days on her because she missed the freeze clause in her contract. So then they go into language about the WWE contracts. There's if a wrestler is unable to wrestle for 6 consecutive weeks for any reason, due or without limitation due to an injury while performing services at the promoter's discretion, the promoter has the right to terminate this agreement or suspend the wrestler without pay, and or extend the terms of this agreement for a period equal to the time of the inability to wrestle. There's like a lot of legal jargon that you guys can check out. I'll put the link to it in the chat in just a moment. But the simple version of that is, if a wrestler misses 6 weeks or more during their contract, then WWE can tack that onto their contract end date. So how does that apply here? Sasha's key, her contract, if it's less than 6 weeks, they can't freeze her.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
and in theory, they think that she's within 6 weeks.
Yes, like if they think she's less than 6 weeks, then WWE can't freeze her. So this is why they're not firing her, for one, and then two, they just yanked her merch, they've buried her, and done all this other stuff. I don't know Naomi's deal, but as far as, like, you know, Sasha's detail and information, people are putting this stuff kind of together, and she would be free before June 26th. And what is June 26th?
That'd be Forbidden Door.
It would be, James. So I'm going to drop this link if you guys want to check it out. This guy goes into even more detail about it. So this is incentive for you guys that are hearing this later to come join the live stream. So I'm gonna hook the live viewers up with this. So what do you make of that whole thing, James?
It's a lot of it's educated guesses based off of what people have said about regarding her deal, but we don't actually know the details of her deal.
Right.
So like it's interesting to see. I didn't know that she was up. I figured that she had she re-signed for 5. Yeah, if it's interesting to see, and it also makes me wonder, like, because she's been through it before, she thinks she's learned her lesson. Like, I would have just played the whole thing out, like, you know, done the Jon Moxley thing and been like, I'll write this out.
Yeah.
I'll write this out, and then I'm fucking out of here the day it hits, and I'm gone. I'm never coming back, or whatever, or I'm going to Hollywood or wherever it is. But this isn't how she wanted to play it. And whatever she felt was best. Cool. I just, you know, that's just not what I would have done. Now, as far as the Naomi thing and people thinking that, like, because Sasha's been, has talked about and been public and demonstrated that, like, she's not putting up with their bullshit nearly as much as Sasha, that people think, like, there are people that think that, like, Sasha is, like, corrupting this woman that's you know, her senior is, like, that's cute. Like, it's really cute because Naomi is so nice and, like, and
took all the stuff out her bios too.
Yeah, like, people think, like, she's just following along, like, he's following along with her friend. It's like, you don't think they've had these conversations of them being sick of their bullshit? Come on now.
Like, how long has Naomi been, like, not done shit with, like, in this company where, you know,
and Naomi had a 4-star match this year.
Look, they're not, and like in WWE, they're not requiring her to wrestle at, you know, a certain level, like, you know, and even if she did,
Rich,
you know, on a one-off,
she had a fucking 4-star match with Charlotte on SmackDown, like, in, like, February this year. Legit, I watched it. I went on my way to watch it. I was like, holy shit, like, this is the best Naomi singles match I think I've ever seen, right? And I'm just like, okay, so the talk used to be that she wasn't a good wrestler. The talk used to be that, like, we don't know if this will work as far as being over. Everything along the lines of, like, why Naomi may have not gotten a shot in, like, great physique, great smile, turns heads in the airport. At least you would turn my fucking head. Can wrestle, does the flying stuff in a way that sticks her unique for the rest of the roster. Her gear, her look,
instantly
unique for everything
connects.
else. Instantly over in her fan base. Always been over in every arena she's been in since like 2017. Since at least that. And it's like, what does this woman have to do to get a fucking shot? Oh, not be black, not be dark skinned. Okay, fuck you. Like, it's been the case for her for years. And, like, for me, like, once I saw her have that match with Charlotte a few months ago, I was like, all right, enough is enough. Like, before I used to think she was just good. Maybe she still is just good and that was a fluke. You know how many sorry motherfuckers I see on American television have crummy matches every fucking week? Come on. What are we doing?
Yep. And it is a it's hard to look at how they've treated Sasha and Naomi and take them seriously as far as, like, anything, like, relating to black people, let alone black women. Like, you know, like, do y'all have a rule of only one? Like, you know, if this is what you want to tell us, I mean, that's kind of what you're showing us right now.
No, we can't possibly pushing Naomi, Bianca, and Sasha. Like,
too many.
You know, we can't feature 3 of them. No, that's ridiculous. What are you acting like they're blonde?
Look, and Lothario Negro in the comments, now they only got one. So right now, and you start looking at the way this company is, like, I don't know if it is necessarily them that has done this or some of their fans who have tried to weaponize, you know, WWE, but we start talking about the variety and the diversity, and it starts drying up very fast without Sasha and Naomi on the roster when you start looking around.
I mean, okay, so non-whites in the women's division, it would be like Raquel, Asuka, Bianca,
Zelina.
That it?
That might be it, unless I'm forgetting some. Tamina.
Yes, Tamina. I forgot about Tamina.
Tamina time.
And then you could throw in like our people that phenotypically look white but are not like Pam, like Bailey, and like Shayna. So you start throwing those in, and it's like, then you're like, okay, and then the rest is a white ass roster, and like, it is what it is. But it's like, this isn't what we, people were talking about the diversity of the women's division and of the roster, is like, that women's division is looking, less and less different. Like, we've come a long way, especially after all these firings. Like, we have come a long, like, they have really, like, they look a lot less diverse now. And we're going to see, like, people talk about how big representation was for WWE for them to like it. And then, like, it's going to be less of it in the coming, months and years, and seemingly. And,
it's almost like the game has got switched on some ludicrous shit, James.
And don't get me wrong, that's not WWE's fault that people prop them up on that. But, like, I'm necessarily talking about the people that, like, said that, like, this is why, like, the wrestling is necessarily better because it's so different people doing it. And it's like, look, I don't know what it has to do with the quality of the television, but whatever. If you see someone that looks like you on the screen, I'm happy for you. That's not what I'm here for necessarily. I'm here to see good, entertain people talk, charismatic shit, and people beat the hell out of each other. So anything between that is kind of like, anything that is extra cool, but like, we're not gonna pretend like, this problem isn't like a problem that WWE can solve. Like, this is a societal problem, not WWE or AEW or Stardom or New Japan or Noah or Dragon Gate or Freedoms or Seedling or Ice Ribbon or GCW or anything in between. Like, this is a problem of systematic inequality and all that other stuff, and like, that's so far beyond our fake fighting thing that, like, people got tied up into this, and it's kind of like, okay, do you like wrestling or not? If you do, I hope you still watch it. If you feel like this is the thing that's going to stop you from enjoying it, you ain't got to watch it, and I'm not going to hold no problems to you, but I just kind of find it misguided that, like, this is what you like this wrestling over this one because there's people that look like you on there. Like, I can understand it to an extent, but for me, it's like, there's so much wrestling out there, you can find what you're looking for. There just is.
They're gonna be finding Nikita Lyons, pretty soon. Like, that's who they got to push, So it'll be just like almost the package, but not quite. They're gonna send her out there, So, but. As far as Sasha and Naomi go.
No. Before we go on from there, I gotta say it. The thoughts and opinions of Rich Ladd does not necessarily reflect those that belong to James Boyd. James Boyd just along for the ride. Just to let y'all know that, like, this fool said that, and I ain't got nothing to do with it. That's up to him. Like, what's your Twitter?
Oh, it's on the screen.
I know your Twitter is. Yeah, relay whatever thoughts and feelings you have what Rich has said to at RichLotta80, at RichLotta, I'm gonna say it, my number. Yeah. No, at RichLotta 3232.
Hey, you aware of the Channing Tatum effect?
Yeah.
Like Naomi, but safer.
Not quite like Naomi.
Sings. Dances. I'm gonna leave it there. Oh man. Yeah.
You're out of your mind.
Watch how it plays out. Oh, yeah, keep that same energy, as she says. So let's talk about. Let's switch gears here. The UK is going to be getting some wrestling, and no, I'm not talking about Cardiff. I'm talking about the newly formed World Entertainment Series. This is a promotion that is run by the former Authors of Pain. They are now the Legion of Pain, and the first show has been announced in the UK. Why is it in the UK? I have no idea. None of these people working this show really have any ties to that area of the world. However, looking at it, a few things jump off the page, especially with this lineup. Why don't we go through the lineup here, and you guys will kind of get what I'm getting at. But this show is going to be very expensive, for one, to fly all these people over, and then very expensive for these people to be booked. These people
would think, yes.
These are a lot of people that, for whatever reason, have not been picked up elsewhere. And that kind of comes down to what, it could be wrestling ability, could be, could be a lot of things. Let's just say that. And this is a show I spoke with a friend of mine, and I told him, I was like, this is a show that came about because people were like, these are talents that were way too expensive to book. Like, these were people that told promoters, my price is this, and the promoters were thinking their price was more like this.
Okay, so this this is also an audio medium.
Yes,
Rich put his hand. He said this way high, and then obviously the second this was like way low. So yeah, he's saying people are outsized the expectations for what they were going to be able to get.
Either pricing themselves out on purpose like that so people won't ask them, or pricing themselves out thinking that someone would pay for it. So so our opener, we've got Dirty Dongo.
Let's not cut the shit. Like the wrestler formerly known as Fandango versus the wrestler formerly known as No Way Jose is the second match. You can't be out here giving these names that people don't know. Come on,
man. Man, it's amazing.
Second match, Mike Bennett versus formerly known as Oni Lorcan, which is surprising. Oni Lorcan is on this show. He's like he sticks out like a sore thumb to me.
Yeah, this match actually could be the best match on the show, and it's not even on the show. It's on the pre-show. But it's Mike Bennett, much improved. Keep hearing good things about him.
And Oni Lorcan's always been wrong.
Yep. On to the main card.
Yes. The former Mojo Rawley versus the former, or actually no, Lince Dorado.
Yep.
I don't know what Lince has been doing besides chasing down people talking shit in Central Florida of late, but he's obviously a good wrestler, so like good for him that he got booked on this thing, and like I wouldn't mind seeing him like wrestle FTR with a tag partner, or somewhere like on AEW. Like, why can't him and Fuego del Sol be a tag team? That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So then you have a World Women's Tag Championship match between Madison Rayne and Tanel Dashwood versus Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green.
They have more teams than WWE.
They do. It's interesting to see it's interesting to see Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo together again after WWE said we don't want this tag team, and then we don't want y'all. And like I want to know.
Hey, Tanel Dashwood on the other side of the ring is Chelsea Green. There could be some smoke there.
Oh, Zack Ryder. Oh wow. Sure, maybe. I doubt there's gonna be well. Then again, I've seen Deonna Purrazzo in a shoot before, so who knows?
Comment from Brewhaven. Maybe the mythical Impact WWE partnership will shine with the women's tag team tournament.
Oh, fucking God. If Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green end up back in WWE for this tag team tournament, I would fucking howl.
Man,
they did nothing with them in NXT. Nothing. And then they brought him up for those house shows where they would go lose to Oscar or something, and then then they fired him. Is that 2020, 2019? Can't remember anymore.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, actually, it might have been like early 2020. I have to go look, but yeah. So then after that, you have the triple threat match of Killer Cross, former Karrion Kross NXT, Samurai Del Sol, the former oh my god, what was his name in fucking WWE?
Oh no, or Samurai Del Sol was Kalisto.
Kalisto, that's what I'm thinking of, because like the Del Sol kept throwing me off. That was the name of his finish. And then Jonah, formerly Bronson Reed, and like, I'm sorry, any card that has like Killer Cross on it, I'm not interested in. I'm just like,
any card in the world,
like yeah, he like
he got him on a fucking Wrestle Kingdom, no.
Like bro, when he ends up in the G1, it's gonna ruin that block for me. And this,
oh my god,
like no, thank you.
There's no way Killer Cross can be worse than Evil. There's no way,
dude. Do you hear about his match with Suzuki?
Yes. Suzuki was like bullying him. He didn't impress. Called him a fucking young boy. Jeremy sent a tweet out about it. It took off. Everyone was clowning. It's just
if you can't have a very good match with Minoru Suzuki at this stage in the game, I'm sorry. This ain't at the top level. This ain't for you. This is not.
Pack it up.
Yeah.
Some people have dubbed this company Beans and Toast CYN.
So the next match after this is the World Tag Team Championship. It is the Legion of Pain, the former AOP versus the Forgotten Sons. Macklin in oh my god, NXT.
Steve Blake. Steve Blake.
Yeah. Wesley.
Or not Steve Blake. Steve Blake went to Maryland. I hate Steve Blake.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Wesley Blake.
Yes, Wesley Blake. And yes. Steve Macklin, he's been to Impact, so
yes, he has. And like, don't be wrong, like, this match should be good because like AOP versus good tag team have had tons of or a number of good matches in their NXT run, and then like Forgotten Sons, for as much shit as like Gunner, you know, gave them a stink or whatever else. Like when they were in the ring, like they could work their asses off. So like that should be a good match. Then you get to the the money matches. Just the World Women's Championship. The former Nia Jax versus the former Lana to pay off the storyline they were telling all for like in 2020 with I guess Survivor Series and Lana and Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler when they were bullying Lana.
When the last time you think either one of these women took a bump?
I don't know how to answer that. I don't know.
This could be all time terrible. This shit here.
Because like, if you were to tell me that like Lana was still doing her thing or whatever else, because I heard her like one of her exit interviews, whatever else, or with somebody, like I forgot what podcast. It may have been Raquel. I'm sorry. It may have been Renee. It may have been Jericho. I don't know, but like she really said like I really want to. Obviously, I was behind and I was a dancer, and they wanted me to be a valet. I wouldn't expect to actually wrestle, but like I got in the ring and I found a passion for it, and I wanted to do this. And like. Anybody that finds a passion in this shit, I'm willing to be hands off on them. But and then like if they're willing to do what it need to be done to get better at this, whatever. I ain't heard about no bookings or nothing or whatever else until this, and she's been going for like since 2020. So I don't know. But Nia showing back up to do this.
Look, I know her phone didn't ring from Jacksonville.
Oh, man, like she's still anti-vaxxing, right?
Look, the chat is lighting Nia Jax up right now.
Look. How
is she getting into the UK? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. That's what I was getting at. She's been talking about the anti-vax shit. I don't know if like what the situation is where getting into the UK is as far as the vaccination status. But If she makes it, that means she will have gotten that shot, which means she had talked a lot of shit.
She talking it, but ain't living it.
Right.
And that's almost worse. It's like, you done did all this, just stand with it now. Don't do this now and try to, stick your arm out for the thing. But
especially because she got fired because she didn't want to get the jab. That's where she got fired to begin with. She would still have a job right now if she, so whatever. But as far as that match, I gotta say,
this is not no Manami Toyota Aja Kong in this, similar body types for most of these women here. But
I know what you're trying to. I know exactly what you're trying to say. I gotta say, like I remember when you went through all those Aja Kong matches, or a bunch of Aja Kong AJW matches over the years, like. Quite frankly, like I look through the AJW stuff, and like my favorite type of match is basically like Manami Toyota like Crash and Burning versus like Hosses, right? Whether it's like Dynamite Kansai or like Kaoru Ito or Aja Kong or whoever else, Devil Masami. Like that's what I enjoy out of the AJW stuff, right? So when you say like maybe the best athletes ever, like hop in a ring that was a woman versus like being compared to Lana is like I can't even get I get the comparison. I reject it. I just reject it.
You reject my deposit?
No. Like we're not about to say just like Fuego del Sol versus I don't know
Miro.
No, we're not about to say that like Fuego del Sol
is Ray
versus Bobby Fish is like Rey Mysterio versus Dean Malenko. We're not doing that. I'm just rejecting it wholeheartedly. We're not even gonna go there. We're like no. I understand what you're trying to get at. You know what? I remember in 2020, like before Julia finally kind of like showed you what she could do. Like we were talking about like how like I said like I think she's gonna work because she has such a want to, and she's willing to take a beating to make these matches work. And like at that point you made the comparison of like, oh, so kind of like Lacey Evans in WWE, and I was like, I can't go to y'all. I get what you're saying. I reject it. Same thing. Like I know what you're getting at, but fucking no, just no. So I'm sorry we derailed this conversation to go into talk about how like Lana obviously is Manami fucking Toyota, but yeah, like what is Matthew better than any of these opening pay-per-view matches that Hannon has?
Fuck no. Maybe the Authors of Pain match.
No, I just meant the Nia and Lana match, just particularly.
Oh, they could wrestle each other 100 times and they wouldn't get a Hannon match.
Hannon is 17, y'all. Okay, so move on.
The World Championship, James, it's just a World Championship. Like so, there's only one belt that matters. The World Entertainment Series Championship match. Adam the Titan Schur, aka Braun Strowman, will be taking on Alistair Overeem.
Now, I don't know anything about Alistair Overeem's like background other than he did. I don't know what his background is. Like, did he get in there from like? Is his background in pro wrestling or not?
No, he says he hates wrestling.
No. No, I meant like, does he have a background like he knows how to, he has some catch experience so they could plug into, training for wrestling and then go from there. And then it's like, well, what the fuck would that matter? He's gonna be in there with Braun, and like all they're gonna do is just be big and strong and throw each other around, and like hopefully they don't kill each other. That's the only hope. Hopefully it's like they don't kill each other.
He is proficient with left overhands and hooks, and he's known for the guillotine choke. Yep, he's known for the guillotine choke.
Okay, so he's a striker. He's a striker. So we'll see how this goes. Or I'll hear reviews. I'm not about to see how this goes, but fuck no. Like,
yo,
real talk, Rich. So I know I badgered you a few weeks ago to do a midweek show so we could preview WWE's last preview, WWE or WrestleMania Backlash. Rich, you watched that show. I did not. So I didn't even watch WWE. You think I'm about to watch these fucking WWE people that got fired? And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that are talented got fired. If there was the right number of people that got fired on here, I would watch this card. These are people that I don't want to watch, and then these are like
the sorry people that TK didn't call. That this. Oh, by the way, I don't know whose money is putting all this. What Mark Payne found, but money laundering is going on. When that's what this is. All the people want to talk about the dark forces in professional wrestling. Somebody needs to look into the World Entertainment Series. That's right. I am advocating for this to be looked into. These people cannot keep putting these cards out into the world. This must be stopped. This must cease. This must not exist.
Bro, this looks like a fantasy fair for Finish-L.
T-Mess, this is some kind of drug front. I just know it. That's great.
Look, man, somebody, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know who put this together.
Are they selling this via NFT?
Bro, I don't know, but tell me why this was like UK Impact.
Bro, this is Impact CYN.
No, but by Impact, I don't mean Impact now. I mean the WCW and WCW Impact, when the shit first started.
Oh my god,
when it was knockoff WCW. This is knockoff WWE right here.
Yeah, NXT Black and Gold is back.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
this
9,
just shows
10,
how many people they had there.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 of them were ex-NXTers.
Bro, it's like this. Think about the NXT system.
So for those, hold on. So for those that talked about how NXT, based from 2017 to early 2020, right before the pandemic hit, it was bad. It was too many indie guys, and it stunk or whatever else. Well, here's your chance to go back and watch that old NXT. Now tune in and go watch that crummy wrestling.
Yeah. I'm sorry. The UK, y'all, they got rid of your wrestling scene. They signed all the wrestlers. They created this zombie brand of NXT UK. And what has sprung up in this place? Rev Pro, who kind of just stayed away from that shit. And then this. Yeah. Oh, man. R.I.P. Brit Rest. Brit Rest, not safe. What up to Butch?
Oh, what's funny? I was actually going through Cage Match wrestler scores or whatever else, going through the active thing. And
bro, he's so high on the list.
And I went through it and I was like, wait, who the fuck is Oh, Pete Dunne! Fuck! I forgot they called this man Butch that quick.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Otherwise it's the NXT UK Witness Protection Program.
He signed an extension this year, didn't he?
Yeah, he re-signed last summer.
Or last summer.
He re-signed in the summer. Fuck. Them UK dudes is different, I imagine. I think he would be someone that would be picked up, but I heard that they didn't necessarily have interest in him. And then thinking about the visa stuff, I think it's just the easier move if you're a UK wrestler just to re-sign with WWE.
But the thing is, they had a burgeoning scene. Obviously, once the UK, it was already going a little bit down before WWE came in, but they had enough main event talent to Rev Pro could have been a real thing, right? It's just it stinks. It really does. It does.
Shout out to Dylan. He said WWE really colonized the colonizers. This is crazy.
Wow.
Never considered that.
Colonize the colonizers. Wow.
Never considered that. So before we preview Double or Nothing, I want to talk about some of the matches that were on AEW Dynamite last week, because I gotta say, James, I was excited as fuck for this show. And
Yeah, you talked about it last week and you previewed it, and I was like, yeah, that's a good card. And then like I saw the card graphic of showing all the stuff that was on the show, and I was like, oh shit, like nah, I need to watch this live. I can't just watch this behind and be late and have somebody screw this shit up. So like I was behind on like 2 Rampages and a Dynamite, like by the time we talked last week. Like I ended up watching last week's Dynamite in Rampage, like basically at 5:00, turned it on, press play, and watched it like in one whop, and then got to watch this Dynamite live. And I gotta say, I don't regret that decision. That was actually a smart bit of business, because I would have got spoiled on that shit or whatever else. But like this was for me, like in ring, I thought this was a great show. I really did.
Yeah, they opened up Samoa Joe getting the win over Johnny Elite. John Morrison finds himself to AEW on a one-off. There was no graphic or anything. I was kind of disappointed when he came out, but then I was like, I didn't think Morrison looked great. I think there were some timing issues, but he was over as fuck when he came out and throughout the match. So Samoa Joe ended up getting the win.
Yeah, I get a match 3.5 stars. I thought that I was disappointed that it was just in quotation marks, just Johnny Morrison, but I at the same time, like, this still a good ass wrestler, right? You know, a guy that, like, if someone says he was great, I wouldn't a great worker. I would be like, yeah, he probably is. Like, that dude's really fucking good. He's been good for a long time at this point. And like the thing is, like, he's been around for a while, and like he has a lot of the WWE doesn't want to push him stink on him, which like when WWE want to push you, everybody I don't think there's any other place where someone doesn't push you and then like the way people feel about you, yeah, it's like they're incompetent and they want to give you, and they gave you like one shot, and it's kind of like, damn, like now you, and like they push you for like 3 weeks and they're done with you. It's like you can almost go out of sight, out of mind, even while having a couple matches here and there for a while. So, you know, like we saw him at, you know, Triple Mania, whatever else. He's still very good, and they had a good match. Ultimately, he ends up getting put away with a muscle buster, but like it was still a very good match. And like Samoa Joe keeps on this streak of having very good matches to great matches. Like I think he's 3 or 4 for 4 now at this point. And like as long as he keeps holding up, he's going to continue to give you a quality match.
Yeah, I was kind of concerned about some of the age that was in this match. I was like, man, these guys are like. These guys up there, but by the time the next match got in the ring, all that was solved. We had the AEW World Champion Hangman Page versus Konosuke Takeshita, and my fucking god, I was coming off the chair. I was pumping my fist. I was marking out. I was popping for the head drops, popping for the clotheslines. Takeshita run the ropes real hard, flying off of them shits, flipping over the ropes. These guys German suplexing each other, fighting spirit. Hangman right there with him doing the moonsaults. This fucking was excellent. This is like one of my favorite matches of the year. And it was just like drop this dude Takeshita in there, and like this is an instant star making performance for him. Like I think everybody wants to see this guy like get pushed for as long as he's here. He's here for a whole year. He's only been here for like a month or so. And, you know, he's lost to the champion. He lost to Jay Lethal. And I think it's time to, now that he's gotten over, and I think James last week was pretty confident he was going to get over. Once seeing him, you know.
I mean, Rich! Okay, so.
Like, bro, like we knew about this guy,
yeah,
but
like you probably seen more Takeshita than I have. This is probably like the 3rd or 4th match I've ever seen Takeshita. But the first time I ever saw him live, or not live, but like I saw him in basically like within a week of a show happening, was like that Cyber Fight Festival semi-main event match he had, where it's him and was it? I
think it was Jun Akiyama.
No,
the
Endo,
tag match.
right?
Yeah, the tag match.
Him and Endo versus what was that scene? It was Yuki Ueno. Yuki Ueno. It was Takeshita and Yuki Ueno versus Kaito Kiyomiya and was it Kitamiya? Or was it Indama?
It was Kaito. Hold on one sec. I will find it.
I know Kaito Kiyomiya was in it. Because the person I was most impressed with in the match was
Inamura and Kiyomiya against Takeshita and Ueno.
Right. Okay. So, like, for me, watching that match, I think I get that match 4 3/4. And, like, I was super impressed with 3 of the 4. The person I was most impressed with was, at the time, was Kaito Kiyomiya, because, like, seemingly they put him in there with a big hoss, as opposed to the other side, where it's like you have, basically Pocket Okada and another, Super Junior, right? So it's kind of like, so you had to shoulder more of a burden in that, having that match be so great. So, like, but at the same time, I'm watching this match, I'm like, I saw Takeshita at that time, I was like, I didn't know how tall he was at the time. I was like, he's got to be at least 6'2". Like, I don't think, like, looking at that ring and how big he is in that ring, because obviously the rings are a little smaller than ours, like the 18, I think, instead of 20. Ours is if like WWE American Wrestling is 20 by 20. So, like, he looked like he was like a legit big size dude, and you would see him do the stuff he was doing. It was like, that dude's a great athlete. And, watching him, like, basically since the summer to now, the few times I've seen him, he was always physically impressive and can move the way he moved for his size or whatever else. And, like, if he was over here, my whole thing was like, are people going to knock his lack of charisma on the mic as a reason not to care about him in the ring? I think that if they let him do his thing, he was always going to get over. And sure enough, they let him have the match he would have in a main event anywhere, and it got the fuck over. Like, you liked this match more than I did, but I still gave it 4.5 easy. Like, I probably, this match and like that Tam and Kamitani match would be the 2 matches that come to mind. As like, instead of giving it 4.5, I say 4.5 and a plus sign next to it. Like, I thought the match was awesome. And it was like, there was no reason to doubt it's fucking Hangman, and it's a person that I've never seen have not a great match before. So there you go.
This was also an important test case, I would say, for AEW being a destination for wrestlers to come, like a Takeshita, whose home is DDT, and then you can come to America and they're not going to make you look ridiculous or bury you or embarrass you. It's like, no, they just let this dude come out there, and this crowd was on fire last week. It was a great crowd in Houston. I love that building. Always, I love that building. Like, I know that's a big WWE town, but they've shown AEW. Like, the last time they were there, they were crazy too. So,
I think it's either the 3rd or 4th show they've had at the University of Houston stadium. But yeah, like, it's always been great, because I think it's got to be at least the 3rd time, because this wasn't the first time they've been there since like the Sammy Guevara proposal thing. I feel like they've been there at least 3 times, and all 3 times it's been a great crowd. Like, that's they had that place rocking, like, just like Long Island, like, it's always rocking when they go to Long Island. Yeah. So yeah, like, keep rewarding that town. Keep rewarding that town. Yeah. Like, every 6 months, I'll be going there.
Yeah, and Hangman gets another great win to add to his, what everything he's got going on. And if he's not a big enough part of the show for you, I don't know what to tell you, because like this nigga this is just such a unique match, like, just AEW. And it's like, I think Dave had said, like, in any other era, like, Takesha's an instant superstar or whatever, if there was like less wrestling that was around to watch or whatever.
He started talking about Muta and Sting.
Yeah.
And Flair.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's a big fucking deal.
Why can't Takesha just come in here and be like the Muta of this now? Like, be like, yo, now you push him. Now, like, you maybe put a belt on him. Eventually, they're going to make him wrestle Kenny at some point.
Well, Muta was a heel. So I get what you're saying, but like, obviously, they tracked him as a foreign baddie, as opposed to like, Takeshita was like, why can't he just be like this, just a baby face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see what he does. I hope he wins a championship while he's here.
I saw you liking all sorts of, setting the agenda of the TNT.
Let's start it.
Takesha agenda. I gotta say, once we get to this next match, we will have to disagree about agendas, but like, eventually I think we're gonna talk about it next. We're gonna talk about the next match. You got more?
That is all I had on that. But Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland shouts out to Swerve. They took on the Workhorsemen, Anthony Henry and JD Drake. This was a Evolve offer match. It looked like it was. So this was like a short squash for Lee and Swerve. They actually got some really dope merch made.
I haven't seen it.
It's fire. Like,
can you put it up on the screen for
I will find it.
Okay. What is the name of their double foot stomp?
Fall from Glory.
Okay, Fall from Glory. All right, I'll write it in the notes. I had to write out like combo foot stomp power bomb, or whatever for the finish. But yeah, like, Thomas in here says he's seen people compare Takeshi to Mike Awesome. The only Mike Awesome match I honestly remember is like the crazy match he had with Masato Tanaka where he murdered him 5 different times.
I've heard people describe Takeshi as like if Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi had a baby. Like,
I think he's so much bigger than both of them that like I haven't really thought of a comparison outside of like the Okada comparison. He's just a 6'2" Okada, but. Like, this is just a part where it's like the same thing where it's like, the first thing I think of them is like, God damn, 6'4" and can move like that and run the ropes and you know, if they want to do the flying thing. Like, when Okada still decides, like, you know, when he's in the Osprey, for example, on January 5th, where he's like, I got something for your ass. Like, I'm going to give you the flip dive. Like, you know, like, Okada don't really break that out that much anymore, but like, he just reminds people, like, that dude can do all that shit. He just doesn't do it anymore because, like, the how much is required for him to try to carry the promotion with these great matches month to month, like, it's too big of a burden for him to decide to do that. But, like, he can do all that shit. And, like, when I watch Takeshi run the ropes and all that kind of stuff, it's the same thing. Like, I think I saw Sir Sam talk about how much he enjoys watching him run the ropes. Like, I gotta say, I think Sam would really enjoy watching Stardom, watching, like, High Speed and watch people like Mariah run the ropes, too. But that's neither here nor there. But, yeah, it's just,
So James, take a look at the shirt. I pulled it up here.
Okay, I'm looking at the stream now. It's not up yet. I don't see it on your on OBS or see it. Oh, I see it now. Yeah. Okay, I see the shirt now. Not bad.
Yeah, that's like probably one of the best shirts at AEW's.
Not bad for this allegedly makeshift tag team that came out of nowhere other than the fact that they're both NXT and black, right?
Yeah, so these guys have teamed with each other on in various promotions around the world, and it's you know, Sam actually had a question. He said he's curious how we feel about Lee and Swerve being put in the tag team division. They're a good team, but he wants to see them both way more in singles. Ironically, I feel like that about the Blackpool Combat Club, but
I feel like that about a lot of these tag teams. But like I think right now, because and I especially feel this because of how, like, you look at what this next pay-per-view card is going to be, and it's like, okay, so where is, like, how many men's singles matches do we have on here? Like 2?
Probably 2.
Yeah. So in a way, it's almost like, even though it's like a quarter show or whatever else, it almost feels like, you know, like it's a bunch of faction warfare. And, like, I'm cool with that, but, like, that's not necessarily what goes down for what draws in America, or, you know, historically. So we'll see how it goes if, like, they sell their 125 to 150 pay-per-view buys, you know, you shrug your shoulders.
Maybe they unlock a new template, essentially. Yeah. So,
and especially because, like, this is going to come down the pike eventually, because, like, they're going to have a trios division. It's inevitable. They're just waiting for Kenny Omega to come back to do it. So, like, this will be a feature, like, a trios match will be a feature staple of these big 4 pay-per-views in going forward.
And as far as Lee and Swerve actually being in the team, like, you know, I see it like, why can't they be at the beginning of some long-term thing like Kenny and Hangman were? Like, as far as, like, putting them together or, you know, a unit being formed between them, it kind of allows them to I think the tag team allows them to get booked quicker rather than just like, hey, we can work with more people. Like, if you know, like Swerve and Lee as an act, they can link with 2 other people, with 4 other people, and then cross up all those singles matches like they've done. They've done Ricky Starks and Swerve. They've done Hobbs and Lee. They've done they're going to do a triple threat next week with Swerve, Jungle Boy, and Ricky Starks. Like, I think it a lot, especially like as competitive as AEW is, it's easy to get lost. And if you have like a regular tag team partner, I think, and I kind of advocated this for Blackpool Combat Club, like it's almost like an All Japan thing. It's like you're not necessarily a tag team or faction, but there's a regular tag team partner that you're kind of linked with, that you team with. I think that's that's kind of a cool thing. So with Swerve and Lee, like they've got so much charisma. They're so over. Like I was watching. I hope that we shook some of the doubt off of that they're both over at the same time. Oh yeah.
Over the past week or so.
Yeah, like the I think the deal with them, I was watching Dark Elevation this week, or Dark, it was one of the Darks, and they were the special main event, like kind of unadvertised from the regular show, but they were wrestling Chaos Project, nice guys, whatever, not the biggest stars in the world. Right. Let's keep it a buck here. This crowd's going absolutely fucking crazy for Lee and Swerve, so it's like we'll get into it in the preview in a little bit, but these guys have come in very quickly. Keith Lee has been training. It looks like he's been working out and like really, he came in, he's fresh off that, trying to recover from COVID and everything like that. And what he's done is, it was noticeable for me when I saw him last week. I was like, oh, he looks like he's been training. So good for him. So, and Swerve, like, I told him to keep that roll through on the finish. And then, the bow after that was dope. So I have high hopes for those guys. Like their signature act, I think at this point, like just how over they are.
Yeah. So I was a little bit distracted because like, it's a Boston Celtics game. They're in Boston. So like, it made you dope because the head coach for the Boston Celtics. Yeah. They showed Nia Long sitting at the sideline. And I was like, damn, that's Nia Long. And she still looks like Nia Long. Anyway, so yeah, you're right about this. Like I think that Jurassic Express like gets a win here, but they're not long for these tag titles. Like, whatever they're doing with Christian and Jungle Boy, like, they're going to get to it, like, I think this next cycle. And then we'll go from there in that tag division open. So maybe, like, I think they might win here and then they'll lose on TV, their next TV defense or whatever else. But
FTR is still hanging around.
You got that. Yeah, you got that. And, like, eventually, the Young Bucks are going to come back and really want to, do this again as opposed to like having their foot in and out. So yeah, we'll see where this goes, but they're gonna they're a really good tag team. They're a really good tag team, and like they're gonna have some great matches, and like they could be a featured staple of that tag division. Like, and I would love to see Lee and Swerve versus Danielson and Moxley, or versus FTR versus the Young Bucks, or versus Fish and O'Reilly. So yeah, like there's an embarrassment of riches in that tag division and trios division. It really is.
Yep. Kyle O'Reilly and Ray Phoenix, another excellent match.
I gotta say, like I often have said on this show, like I don't know what AEW exactly sees in like Phoenix and Penta as opposed outside of just having great matches, but like after you say that shit about Takeshita, but like like he had a kind of match that lets you say that like he could just go out there and just get over off his wrestling, and he could be a champion, a TNT champion. You try to start that agenda. Nah, man, Mexico first. I don't give a good goddamn what Sammy Guevara and Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page and what's his name? American Top Team. Dan Lambert. Yeah. And Kazarian are doing with this doing with this TNT title. Vacate it. Start a TNT tournament. Have Phoenix win the fucking thing. Have him go out there every other week and have another match like this, because this match isn't any different from any other match he has, which means he always has fantastic fucking matches. He's fucking awesome. It don't matter your opponent. It don't matter the style. Like, seeing him in this match out here throwing forearms back and forth with O'Reilly was like, I'm sorry. Like, put him anywhere. Send him to fucking New Japan. Put him in Best Super Juniors. Who wouldn't want to see a fucking Phoenix versus a Rumble match?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Put him. This dude, obviously, he just came back from an injury, a nasty injury, whatever else. This fucking guy.
Don't matter.
There's no way this dude, like, I know we say this often, he's one of the 20 best talents in the world. I want to go through with a fine-tooth comb to see what that number actually fucking is. Who's actually better than this fucking guy?
Like the Ray Phoenix Aura game.
God, he's so fucking good. Like, O'Reilly was very good in this match, and it's funny because, like, when he's in the first round match with Jungle Boy, the crowd didn't give a flying fuck. But the second he's in there with Phoenix, you get dueling chants of let's go Phoenix, O'Reilly, back and forth and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, it makes me wonder, look back and like, what's going on with Jungle Boy? But not really serious, but kind of like, just raise an eyebrow. But this match is awesome. And like, the work that O'Reilly did, like, where he's basically chopping the tree of like, all right, like, this dude's kicking my ass, I'm gonna take a limb. Damn, he still kicking my ass, I'm taking another limb. And then, like, the catching Finch where he catches him, and then he transitions over, gets him with a combo, knee bar, arm bar, like, just, mwah. And, like, I know that, in my mind, Danielson is backstage in Gorilla watching that match, and he's like, God damn it, he had the match I was gonna have with Phoenix before I could fucking get to him. Like, this match was fucking great. Like, and it looked like they were just doing this shit like they were just improvising. It didn't like this shit was planned out outside of the finish. Like, you can see them like between spots, like communicating each other. This is fucking awesome.
Like, I don't get the vibe from like that you walk up to Ray Phoenix before the match and lay the whole shit out.
Well,
like, I don't get that vibe.
The tag stuff with the Young Bucks, that's definitely stuff that's been laid out.
Yeah.
Like, those tag matches are definitely laid out to some extent. But this match was clearly just felt like they have an idea, or they may know what the finish is, but they don't know how they're going to get to along the way. And you can see them communicating back and forth. It didn't fucking matter. The shit was still just fantastic. Like, just awesome wrestling. Like, just both of them. Just great. Two of the best wrestlers in the world going at it.
O'Reilly advances, and he's going to be meeting Samoa Joe. They did a beatdown at the end of the night, which kind of, I think, tipped off who's going to win that match. I think Joe's losing here. They were beating on his arm. Joe's still dealing with Satnam Singh and Jay Lethal and all those guys. So it looks like we're headed to Cole O'Reilly. We can save our thoughts on that when we preview. But they had Maki Ito be the other Joker. Came out there and wrestled Britt Baker.
Over.
I thought, dueling chants immediately. Felt bad for the people that would try to come out here and be miserable to talk bad about Maki Ito. And, this was a fun match, I would say.
Yes.
It wasn't, I don't think this was some type of great match or anything.
It was like a match I give like 2.5 to 2 3/4. It wasn't it wasn't a match that I would necessarily call textbook good, but it was fun, and it wasn't meant to be some not Matt class, but like some excellent mat match between those two. Like, that's not what neither one of them brings to the table at this stage. Like, if you want a good match with Maki Ito, or you want a good match with Britt Baker, that's your traditional match, you need them within the ring with someone else.
Yeah, this just made me really want Death Yamasan to just be dropped on national television with no warning.
God, Death Yamasan
with no warning.
And that's the thing, like, you talking about the comedy wrestlers, you talking about the clown, the comedy wrestlers, or whatever else. Like, once she starts running those ropes and like putting people in a million different versions of a victory roll, it's over. Like, you're like, what the hell is this? Whatever else, and then you realize, oh damn, she like runs the ropes better than anyone that's on the show this week. Okay.
After that,
and it's funny. It is funny because like, I remember Meltzer, whenever he watches Stardom or whatever, he thinks she stinks. And then like Alvarez and who watch more Stardom have seen her actually have a real match, not a comedy match. Like, they're like, oh, she's a fucking sleeper. Like, she does a comedy thing, but she can really wrestle her ass off. Like, Alvarez and Filthy. Tom Lawler know this, but he doesn't because he doesn't watch. He doesn't see her outside of like the goofy shit she does. It's funny. It's funny. Like, I wonder what he thinks of like May Saruga from what he's seen of her. He probably thinks she stinks.
No, he probably like May Saruga.
When has he ever seen her?
She wrestled Azumi recently.
Did Welser watch that match?
I'd have to check.
Yeah, I mean, because he doesn't watch every single starting pay-per-view. He only watches like the ones that get to him for whatever reason, or he'll watch like one match off of it.
Then we got the Adam Cole versus Jeff Hardy. Adam Cole got the win over Jeff Hardy in 7 minutes. This was
just good, and that's it. Nothing to write home about. Like, for a main event match, I was building a main event, and then like with the 2 matches that were on it before that were like, you know, either a great kick-ass awesome match or a classic. It left a lot to be desired, and like, you know,
a lot of people wondering about Adam Cole. Why is he leaving so much on the table right now?
Why can't he have a great match with Jeff Hardy that's a regular rules match? When's the last time Jeff Hardy had a regular rules match in AEW that was really good? Oh, never? Okay.
I don't know if he's even had a regular. Oh, he's had one. I think it was against Bobby Fish.
Yeah, it was fine. Like, Jeff Hardy can only have good match when he jumps off shit at this stage in the game. How's Adam Cole's fault? Tell me how Adam Cole...
Everything's Adam Cole's fault, man.
Adam Cole in that last pay-per-view had a 4.5-star match, and now we're talking about it, and then had a rematch with Adam Page that was like a great match, like a 4-star match, 4.25 from what I remember, right? Why does he get so much shit? I don't understand this.
I was having a conversation with Josh today, and you know, Josh was saying, you know, he was, you know, expressing he thinks Cole needs to hit it a little bit harder in the gym a little more right now, and I don't know, I don't know. It doesn't.
Does he
get on my radar like that?
His body looks exactly the same as once he's walked through the door in AEW. Like, if you're saying that like his physique doesn't look good enough, okay, maybe, but it's like, I don't know what to do when like the best tag team in the world has the same physique as this fucking guy. I don't know. Like, Nick Jackson and Adam Cole's physiques are very similar. No one says about Nick Jackson.
I think the Bucks are bigger than them, but than him now. But
I think Matt is more cut up than both of them right now. I think Matt is, but Nick isn't. So it's like, but like no one would dare say it's about Nick. No one would dare say it's about Nick because no one cares. Why do y'all care about Adam Cole's physique? Who gives a fuck? Does he give you quality wrestling matches or not?
There's something like we've been kind of tracking this since the end of last year, and we've talked about the factions of people that have come for him. All this stuff isn't in bad faith that I think is around him, but it's so weird. I was telling Josh for me because I'm kind of like indifferent on Adam Cole, depending on like, you know, who I'm talking to about him. I end up on whatever side, like, hey man, I think you're being a little bit too hard on him, or B, hey man, relax. This is not like one of the, like, we don't need to move everyone out the way for him. No, like, relax. Like, it's weird where I end up with him.
I am comfortable pushing him to the top of the card, given that like what he does as far as quote unquote the number suggests that he's someone that should be a top act in the company, right? So like, I don't have an issue with that. The same way I didn't have an issue with that when it was like him or Ricochet or Johnny Gargano or Aleister Black or the three other guys that could have been the NXT champion at the time. Like, I don't know what is this thing where it's like, it's every week's a referendum on this person's like run in this company, and it's like he hasn't even been there for a year. Like, he's doing well. He's had a program. He's had one of the best programs of the year with the champion. Like, I
feel like if he was a high flyer, no one would say this about him, but he's not.
I don't know.
So I don't
know. Like,
I don't know. It's a lot.
Like, is he my favorite cup of tea watching the wrestle? No. But like, does he have quality matches every single time he's asked him to go out there? Yes. Like, is he having a year like Adam Page is having in the ring? No. But no one else is in AEW right now. Except maybe Phoenix, given it was you account for the injury thing, but that's about it. So what do we, like, beat Kenny Omega or get the fuck out of here?
I mean, that is a high standard.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, what are we doing?
Adam brings a good point. Gargano will get the same treatment if he ever comes in.
Well, one, I don't necessarily have this concern about Gargano because one, Gargano has one of the most cut up dudes in the world at pro wrestling. That dude's ripped to shreds, and two, he's a better in ring worker than Adam Cole is. No one dare make. There'll be different complaints to be had about Johnny Gargano, but it won't be physique and it won't be the in ring stuff because he's gonna go out there and rip off some 15-minute 4.5-star match.
Yeah.
Underdog Fantasy is the fastest growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.
Target has Laundry Day covered because they offer a great selection of concentrated Tide Pods to help with all your laundry needs. Tide Pods clean, freshen, and help rejuvenate your clothes with odor fighters and stain removers. Did you know Tide Pods clean better than the leading liquid bargain detergent? Tide Pods are powerful enough to make your whites white and your brights bright, even in cold water. Just toss in 1 Tide Pod for small loads, 2 for medium, 3 for large. It's that easy. For great value and convenient pickup options, get Tide Pods today at Target.
So let's get into the preview for Double or Nothing. We left some stuff out of the other review, like we'll get to the women's title stuff. That is a little rough. But let's start with the TBS Championship. Jade Cargill will be taking on Anna Jay. This is a rematch of their match on Rampage, which was live before that actually got over really big when it happened. These are two, I think, Nightmare Factory people. And they, I assume, have had lots of training reps together. So I'm actually expecting this to be pretty good. I think Jade's kind of knocking it out the park right now with the baddies. And yeah, I'm with it. Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay. I'm with it. That was a live Rampage that was on.
Okay, so I'm confusing. I'm mixing up the Ty and Anna defenses. That's what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Match should be good. I don't know where they're going to place it, though. Like, if it was on the pre-show, fine. If they put that shit on the depth...
No, it's on the real show.
If it's on the real show, it needs to go on, in one of the first 3 matches.
Yeah, put it on, third or second.
If they put that on after 10 p.m., it's going to be fucking trouble.
Trouble. We've got the Owen Hart Cup final. I'm just predicting it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole.
Cole's going to be in it.
Yeah, Cole's already in it. He's already in it.
Oh, yeah. So either way, regardless of whatever they're going to do, it's either going to be either way, this is a Triple H Cup match. Last year, when Joe came back, they were teasing Adam Cole and Samoa Joe match that whole time, but Karen Cross in the fucking way. And then, and then that's basically when they changed over management. But they were clearly going towards Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe match. And then last year, you got a number of three Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly matches or whatever else. So
funny, Adam Cole put him over on his way out in the territory for Cole or O'Reilly to follow him out the territory.
I'm out this. I don't know how you put me over. I'm out this bitch too.
Yes.
So yeah, either way, this match, both matches could be very good. Obviously, I think the better match would be the better match more times than not would be Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. Obviously, Kyle O'Reilly's in a way, in just a different league than Joe is at this stage in his career, in the ring. But I would like to see Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe, just so I can see Samoa Joe win, and then get a promo and scare the bejesus, and see Adam Cole make those faces at the top of the ramp, and just oh my god, I got to deal with this fucking guy after Joe said something outrageous for 15 seconds to get the crowd in love with him. Yeah, I don't know what they do, but like, I mean, any of those three could win. It'd be fine. Like, I would love to see any of those. Well, actually, I think the only person that I would not want to see would be Cole. Like, they've already done the Adam Cole and Adam Page stuff. Like, but O'Reilly and Page it will be awesome. Joe and Page would be awesome as well. So I'm with either one of those two winning.
I think O'Reilly beating Cole would be really exciting, and I think people would get into that. I think I feel like Cole's push is so, I don't want to say stale, is that he already lost to the world champion right now, and he's kind of in that after kind of stage. And it's like, well, you didn't put him to go after the secondary belt, which is what happens a lot of times.
It would be hilarious if he won the TNT title, given that he's kind of like the face of the promotion, heartbeat, spirit of the promotion thing, especially at the start with like Darby and Cody, and then like they put it on this NXTS nigga. That would be fucking hilarious.
And that's what this whole tournament like. And I don't know, people have had different complaints about the tournament, but I thought like the matches in the tournament have been pretty great. To say,
they're having complaints like, why are all the fucking NXT guys winning? Well, like they just wanted to come here and never do anything. Why hire them? Why bring them in if you're not going to push them?
Yeah, I know what they're saying though, because I mean, you look at a lot of the card, like it's it's a lot. Well, I don't think it's necessarily that there's a match that captures this perfect, but it's not the NXT people. So we'll get to that later.
Okay.
So Cole and O'Reilly. I mean, if you look at the tournament, you were thinking about the originals, like you're thinking about Ray Phoenix. I think people might have liked to see do a little bit better, but after that, even was like, well, who was really in it to root for that? That was quote unquote from the home team.
Be like, okay, you can say Jungle Boy, but it's like, I just saw Jungle Boy.
He didn't make
O'Reilly, and no one gave a flying fuck about that match. And then like once O'Reilly's in there with Phoenix, you're getting dueling chance across in the stadium. So like, there's something going on with Jungle Boy right now. So I don't know. And then it's like, all right, well then who else?
A lot of people locked up elsewhere, I think.
Yeah. Like Wardlow's doing something, MJF's doing something that wouldn't be in this to begin with. There's no Omega. The Kesha got here late.
So
what? Like put Danielson in it?
I mean, I don't know.
I'm not saying that to be dismissive. Like, if you want to put Danielson in it, but like
Hook,
put Hook in there. Has Hook had a match that went longer than 8 minutes yet?
I don't believe he has.
Yeah, I mean, not saying he's not ready for it because I don't know, but like he hasn't even had an extra 8 minutes. Like you want to use that on a tournament? All right.
Pac's locked in. Well, I can't.
They're about to go out there and have a 4.5 star match on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like he's preoccupied. He has his own great match to have somewhere else on the card. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I guess you're gonna have to settle for a 4-star match in the final. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. You're gonna have to settle for a great match. Sorry.
So
the best we can do is give you a great match. Tony Khan, such a terrible promoter and booker. The worst we can give you is a great match between two known commodities in the wrestling world.
So these people that have gone on this thing, I think they're being a bit, saying AEW doesn't feel as it did. Like it's pretty unorganized at the moment right now.
I think there's something to that.
There's not the kind of overarching, kind of thing going on right now that is really gripping people. But I think if you think about how last year was set up, right, and what AEW was doing in the NBA playoffs, and then what they did as soon as the calendar flipped to July, like this is a promotion that has clearly had different eras where they've intentionally held shit back until they could do it at proper times where they could capitalize business wise.
Yeah, because like last year, Double or Nothing was what? I'm sorry. What was Double or Nothing's main event last year?
Stampede 2.
Okay.
And then Kenny was defending the triple against Pac and Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, because people were clamoring for that at the time too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so like usually
still a 4.5 star match. You get my point. Like no one was clamoring like. Why is people were like, why the fuck, including me, was like, why the fuck is Kenny Omega like on a big 4 pay-per-view like in a triple threat match? with two guys that we know aren't going to win.
Yeah. And then what happens in July is when they started running off all those Fight for the Fallens, Fighter Fest, all these other shits. And then like everything just starts heating up. And then they peak with, the Dynamite Grand Slam. And it's set up the same way this year. So I think people are very protective of AEW not feeling like, the greatest thing in the world at all times, I think. And they tend to lose sight of the history of the promotion and maybe not even think about the history of the promotion where everything's just, as you mentioned earlier, a referendum on like what's happening right now, the life and death of the company right now. It's like it's
exhausting. That's why this is why like you a lot of the time on these shows, like you bring this up to my attention because it's like this is all I stay off social media a lot of times. Like it's a byproduct of me like trying to avoid Stardom spoilers all the time. So like like me avoiding Stardom spoilers helped me avoid some of this nonsense and stuff that's kind of like, are you really saying? There's no way someone's actually saying this in good faith. They're saying this stir shit, and it's like if that's what you want to do, cool. But like I don't want that on my timeline.
Sam brings up a good point. This time last year we had a Dustin Rhodes versus Nick Comoroto main event on Dynamite.
The bull rope match, right?
Yes.
I forgot.
T-Mess, perfect. That's exactly what was on my mind. July through September is the money spot on the calendar for AEW. Like people should know this. Like and like that's kind of what happened last year. Like it was the close down of Daly's Place, back on the road, all that momentum, Road Rager, Fighter Fest, Fight for the Fallen, a whole bunch of big city dynamites, which are coming to Los Angeles, Las Vegas, fucking, they're going to be everywhere pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, Detroit.
Yes, Detroit. All those big shows are coming. So look, if it starts going down a cliff, down a hill, trust me, we will know it.
I don't look at this. I don't know how you can look at this card and be like it's going down a hill. If you're saying like the build to this and like the personal intrigue of you being emotionally invested is not there outside of like MJF and Wardlow, I'm 100% with you. I was saying this to Chad, the Chad Matthews, in a thread that we're in. But like my point was like the card is loaded with a bunch of talented people that are going to go out here and have great matches. I'm just not emotionally invested in it. And like, quite frankly, for me, is like I would like it to be all of it, but like as far as the stat card of great matches I'm going to get, like it's there. So I can't wait for this weekend to happen, and I'm going to enjoy watching this show. There's going to be a lot of great matches on here, but like it just doesn't have that thing that like it doesn't have the Adam Page, Kenny Omega thing in it. It doesn't have like the Young Bucks Lucha Bros thing in it. It doesn't have like the Eddie Kingston win the big one thing in it. Revolution they just had, right? Mm-hmm. But it's gonna be a great card, great matches, and like you're gonna have the Wardlow MJF thing, and that's a big deal. And also like the sense of dread or intrigue of like what are they gonna do with the main event? So, and like, how good is main event going to be? Like, that's interesting to see. Like, I don't know. This match could be anything between like 4.5 stars to 3 3/4. I don't know what it's going to be.
So, before we get there, we'll go to the singles match for the women's championship. Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. This build has been muddied by bad promos and just awkward deliveries.
I would say deliveries more than I'm with you. Like that, we'll get to it. Sorry.
Like Serena last week, I think cut what was. If you lay out everything she said on paper, I think we're talking about a women's promo that's coming from a woman wrestling like that. We've never heard a promo like that, right? And at least that I can think of. If there's something wrong, I'm sure something that's missing, people will correct me. But I don't feel like Charlotte Flair has gone out on TV and said, I put pressure on myself and, had cosmetic surgery done to please these people or whatever. And, who knows that even makes me good enough, whatever. Like excellent content in the promo. She physically couldn't get the words out, and it was heartbreaking almost watching her execute that, because it was like, it just felt all bad. And then Dustin, like, I think there would have been a way to save this, and it would have like actually kind of healed people on Serena Deeb rather than people feel bad for her because she's yelling for Tony Schiavone. She's talking about all these people that said she couldn't win. They bring Dustin out. Like, she needed to sucker Dustin in. Like, she needed to like end that with like kicking him in the balls after he said something to her that made her like, even like, you know, because she was asking him, why don't you think I can win or whatever, right? But then he says nothing, and it just is like, you got to give her something to react to. I think.
Yeah, you're right on that, and also like, I think the question that she's asking is like on its face value, a dumb question. Why do you think that I can't win? Well, I think she's better than you, and then walk away. What the fuck? Like, what are we
like? And even if he gives her that, then she's like, she goes fucking psycho. He tries to calm her down. She kicks him, like, or she cries. Whatever. She can bust out crying and act sad. Yeah. He can console her. She can, you know, give him the low blow, and then she yanks her face up, and like, you know, she puts the evil smile on, something to draw Thunder Rosa out, essentially, to come, you know, run it or whatever. But she's just, there was a lot to be desired there.
Yeah, she's just not a charismatic promo in front of a live audience. It is what it is. So that just, it didn't work as far as that perspective. And then like what is leading up to the question is not a good question, or necessarily, or not even a good question, but as much of an interesting question. There was no answer, and that was kind of the end of it. And it's kind of like, and then also the part where it's like, until I believe last week's show where they showed Dustin in the cage with Thunder Rosa after she won the Women's World title, I had no idea of an association between those two at all. Mm-hmm. So then the next week they do this with Dustin. Is like this. It felt just, they pulled this out 1 week ago to let you know that they were going to do it here, as opposed to like this something where like they've been around for. It didn't feel earned. So that also kind of didn't. That's why it didn't also mostly connect with me either. But regardless, it is Thunder Rosa. It is Serena Deeb. They're gonna have a good ass match.
Ring the bell.
Yeah. Like, the promos have not worked for me either way in a way to get me invested in what they're trying to go for. But these two good ass wrestlers are gonna have a good ass match.
I think you can convince me on a title change here. I know Thunder Rosa just won it, but I'm feeling like she either has or like, I think her momentum is stalled. I think she has not been done any favors by the booking. Who knows? She may be injured. Like, that's why we're not like seeing her wrestle as much. Like, think about like that report before, you know, she wrestled Britt, that she had some type of hamstring strain, like that tag match before Revolution. She had that big ass wrapping on her hamstring. She guts it out and does that match. She guts it out a couple more matches to win the belt. She's had one match since she's won the title, period. So like, for
against
me,
Nyla, right? The title defense.
Right.
Okay.
And it's almost like, you know, who knows if that was on some, hey, can you go type shit. So like, they could switch the belt here, and I would be like, all right, that's cool. Like, and I'm a huge Thunder Rosa fan, but I don't know. It just feels like maybe it's not Rosa's time. Like, as crazy as that sounds.
I thought this was in the bag, but I hadn't really thought about it or considered her injury history. I for some reason I don't remember the hamstring thing, but we'll see. But either way, I look.
And then you got the women's tournament final. Like, and you can kind of talk about in conjunction to this, they could have a babyface coming out of that, and then have them challenge Deeb, or bring Sheeta back to run it with Deeb, and then wait for Thunder to get herself right and come back. Like, I feel like that's what's going on here, but I could be wrong. But
I mean,
her inactivity, it feels like an alarm should be going off.
Okay, so if Deeb does win, and we'll probably do this for both sides, but like if Deeb does win, so who do you have in the women's Owen tournament?
So for me, we've got Toni Storm and Britt Baker. I would put Toni Storm over Britt Baker, kind of similar to Cole. Just in her case, she was the champion recently. I don't think she needs to win this as well. She could, Toni Storm's coming in, they've clearly set her up for the superstar push. Then there's Ruby Soho or Chris Statlander. Either one of them could go to the finals. I'm not really.
I think it's going to be Stat.
And then I would go with Toni Storm.
Okay. So, all right. So if it were Thunder Rosa that retained, how would you go about this then?
If it was Thunder Rosa that retained, man, I think you can go to Ruby.
Okay.
She's never faced Thunder except, her debut when she eliminated her to win the shit, the Battle Royal, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If Thunder wins, I'll go with Ruby to win the Owen Hart tournament. If Serena wins, I'll go with Toni.
So it would basically be Ruby finally getting her win back over Britt from Britt's title defense, and then faces Rosa and loses.
You could do that.
Okay, that works out. That's very Japanese booking. It is like you beat me when you're champion. Now that you're not champion, I beat you in this tournament. Now I go face somebody else. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I just saw Lothario Negro says like it's starting to show this weekend too, right? Yep, it is. It's Saturday. So yeah. We'll talk about that later, but yeah.
Then we got the 3-way match for the tag team titles we talked about earlier. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, Team Taz, Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. A lot of people are urging, I think people are willing these belts off of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I think all they've done is have stellar matches. So yes. I would miss them. I would imply and urge people to appreciate what these guys have done. I don't like, oh man, this feels so like, I hate to say it. It's like, why are you turning on these people when all they're doing is like the stuff that got them over?
I don't get it. I don't get it. Like I don't know if it's this thing where like Jungle Boy doesn't talk enough or what. But I don't know. It's odd to me. It just is. But either way, regardless of whoever wins this match, it's gonna be a great match. Like you're asking, it's Swerve, it's Keith Lee, it's Luchasaurus, it's Hobbs, it's Ricky Starks, it's Jungle Boy. Like that's a lot of fucking talent in the ring. Like they're gonna have a great match.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's gonna be like the triangle thing like it was at Revolution. We'll see. If it's a traditional one, I would like a more traditional, 3 people in the ring than the triangle thing, but we'll see what they do.
So funny thing, Lothario Negro said a lot of champions with ops right now. The AEW fan base has been wild lately. Dylan, remember when Drew won the WWE title and fans were saying he was boring a month into it? T-Mess, he said he just thinks more momentum is behind the two teams challenging right now.
I think there's definitely something to that, but to port it over just to put a title on them because it's the hotter thing right now, it's like, how about this? How about you decide who's the better team between those four and then have them, the winner of that, then come take the titles off of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I like that more than we're just going to throw Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, who are the tag champions, into this interesting tag team feud, and then like they just are going to probably leave with the titles. I don't know.
I think this one's a toss up as much as anything else on the card. Like this could easily go to Swerve and Lee. Like I said, they're very popular. Team Taz has had like quietly, they've started picking up lots of momentum. Ricky Starks is starting to break out heavily. Hobbs is like turned his physique into like This man's a mountain of a man now. And, he was in that match, the Face of Revolution ladder match last time. So, like, putting, a little solid resume together for himself. So, if you want to go in a different direction with the belts, like, Hobbs and Starks are a team that can do it. And then you can never underestimate the champions, like who've already done, a 3-way tag match last pay-per-view. They were wrestling against Red Dragon and the Bucks, so this one should be dramatically different from that match. So I'm really into this one. So
yeah,
I don't know who's going to win. I have no idea.
I don't have a prediction for it, but all teams will play hard. That's the only prediction I really got.
Yes. So Anarchy in the Arena match. So
Rich
James, do I get to say it yet?
No, go ahead.
William Regal to fuck off TV.
Really?
Yes. Like, how many times is he gonna like whiff on a live promo? Turn his mic off. Like
I don't. You have to remind me of what happened that I missed or forgot already. Last week.
Jericho comes out there and eats the Blackpool Combat Club alive, from Santana to Ortiz to Kingston to Moxley to Danielson to Regal. He goes down the list and handles each one of them.
I remember him saying stuff about like Kingston and Danielson, y'all got beef. Moxley and Danielson, y'all got beef, or something like that. Or Danielson or Moxley and somebody had beef. Santana and Moxley from the Eye for an Eye stuff. I remember that stuff. So what did Regal say that was so bad?
So after Jericho does all this serious stuff, he drops like the haymaker of a line where it's like, hey, Brian, you talking about you look like you're just a nerd. You may be the greatest wrestler in the world, but you're just a nerd. But you're hanging out with Moxley and Regal. Like, who knows how long it is before like he's shoving a drink down your throat and you're in the program with Moxley or whatever, and you think they're gonna say something that comes back, and the best Regal can come up with was I put your toothbrush up my ass. What?
Oh, that wasn't a bad line. Big it
bad
was goofy.
The big bad tough Blackpool Combat Club couldn't come up with anything other than that. The leader of this thing. Are you serious? Like this is what the sports entertainment guys should have been saying. Like,
I agree. I didn't hate it though. I didn't think it was like something where like we need to say he needs to like retire from the business.
Bro, I was like, what are we doing this love fest for with him? Like, stop. Like I was like, what is this? Like, I think it like luckily Eddie Kingston got on the mic and then like kind of brought it back together.
I gotta say, like the I said it at a time when it happened, and like it just more dawns on me now more than ever. All the people aside from Daniel Garcia that's in the JSA, it just drags down Jericho. There's no way in fuck they're winning this match. It's not even a question. You can't even like see if you can't even figure out like if the decision's in doubt. Like, it is Moxley, it is Kingston, it is Danielson. It's fucking through with. It's over. Like, they're going to run through these three, and like obviously I guess that's the point of this, but it's like this is like their cute name for like the hardcore version of whatever the Stadium Stampede is, because like apparently Kingston and Moxley are too fucking tough to be.
They won't do that shit.
Yeah, we'll change the name and it'll be the same fucking thing to make it feel better. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? Whatever. But it's a fucking 5-on-5 brawl around the stadium. Sounds like they'll be stampeding in the stadium. Whatever. But match should be good, but it's like there's just not enough horses on that Jericho side to make me actually give a fuck about this match in that way. Now that they've actually done this and like we know this is what's upon it, like that, and that's the problem with like them putting on like the 2.0 and Garcia for so long on TV, and this shit just never took on Rampage when they were putting him on Rampage all the fucking time, especially in main events. It's like, we know that Garcia is really talented. We know what they're trying to do with Garcia, and we appreciate it. But like, the Parker in Lee part of it just does not.
I think they've been excellent on the mic. Like
they're funny. They're like, just funny, but it's like I can't buy them actually. I just can't buy them. When it's time to get in the ring. And they're not a bad tag team. I just can't buy them as like they're really actually pushing these fucking guys. Like, isn't the same things when they had Santana and Ortiz in Inner Circle. It's not the same thing at all.
I would think Blackpool Combat Club's going to win, barring some like someone turning on someone. I think that's the only thing that would threaten a some type of split here.
Dylan, he said 2.0 slander? That's fair. It's not slander. Like, for what they're being asked to do, they're carrying it very well. But the thing is, like, I just do not care about them. And, like, I watched them on NXT, and, like, it's the same thing. It's like, these are dudes that are clearly have really good fire on the mic and really good talkers and charismatic, whatever else. But I just can't buy them once you put them in there with like these with the toughest motherfucking fighter in the world and Bryan Danielson, the toughest street thug in the world in Jon Moxley, and his thug friend Eddie Kingston, who's talking about what was it the other day? We talking about killing people. What was it?
Drop a body.
Yeah, dropping bodies the other day. It's like, okay, like if this were FTR, they'd be so, like, I would have no problems with this at all. And they're better promos than FTR, but you get my point, is like, they're just such an afterthought, and like, they're losers. Because they put them as losers the whole fucking time. They're losers that are just sucking off Jericho. I'm sorry to talk in these terms, but like, they're
appreciating Jericho.
They're pin-eating goons.
They're appreciating Jericho.
They're not even just goons. They're pin-eating goons. They're not like like they're lower than Sean Spears on the totem pole for me when I think about it, as far as like Sean, like when was the last time, like, because Sean Spears, when it's time for him to be one of those people that like the babyface will overcome in order to get the MJF, like they give Sean Spears wins on TV to let you remind you, like, this guy's actually somebody that can do something. They didn't fucking bother with 2.0. They didn't bother. The only ways you're getting are when Jericho's in the ring and hit a Judas effect.
Yeah. They be beating people ass, though. Like,
on Dark?
Nah, just like in the attacks. Like, they be attacking people. So, like, they get to win, like, when they're not in the ring.
But then Jericho throws a fucking fireball like he's Lawler in the 70s.
A wizard, ho! He's a wizard!
I will say this. Getting away from the context and the lack of self-awareness of Jericho calling himself a wizard, aside from that part, given what his wife was at on January 6th, whatever else, I get all that. But separate from that, compartmentalize that. Like, when he says, I'll throw a fireball in your face, I'm a wizard, yes. That shit is fucking funny. It is. Because it's like, it's so ridiculous. Like, you are 50 years old. What are you saying? He's so funny. like he's doing a Kamehameha, or no, what was Kenny doing when he's hitting people with the
Hadouken?
Right? The Hadouken, that's right. He's Hadouken people. Yeah. Yeah.
But we got a 6-man tag after this. House of Black, long awaited. House of Black versus the Death Triangle. Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King against Pac, Penta, and Rey Fenix. Get out the way.
This is probably my bet, my bet for best match of the night.
Yeah, I'd let this open the show.
It's probably my bet. It's probably my bet for best match of the night. Yeah,
yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
This is gonna be incredible. Just thinking about Pac and Malachi Black getting back at it, Buddy Matthews and Pac getting back at it. Matthews and Phoenix, that's Diet Kenny and Phoenix right there. Brody King and throwing these guys around and giving them the goddamn gonzo bombs and shit. I'm gonna pick the House of Black, and Brody King's gonna hit a gonzo bomb to win.
I hadn't even thought about it when I just was thinking about like Austin.
The stars, baby. That's what you was thinking about.
Yeah.
Moves, baby.
Yeah, like if y'all seen the gif of blinding lights from with the weekend looking at like those are stars, baby. Those are stars. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be fun. That's what I'm most looking forward to this weekend. Aside from Tim and Kyrie tagging, but yeah, like it's gonna be
Team
awesome.
James.
Oh God, don't start that shit.
Don't
start that shit.
I know it says they're the White Knights, but always know them by their real name, Team James.
Okay, so we gotta talk about. Let's talk about White Knights right now while we're at it. So right after the Wizard. Chris Jericho. Yes. I actually had thought about like Chris Jericho in a trios with Tyree and Tam the other day because of all this fucking like connotations to like the KKK. But like I didn't know about this name. I heard that like they're gonna tag for the pay-per-view, and then like they were asking for team names, and then like when they came up name and y'all told me it was White Knights, I was like, oh. just so fucking deflated, like, this is awful. And then, like, because, I'm still trying to voice Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm so far behind. So, like, once you told me, like, well, it's actually about, like, the protectors of the white belt, I was like, okay, that's better. At least there's some context for why they came up with this, as opposed to, like, they decided to call us the White Knights. I'm like, yo, that's unfortunate. But yeah, let's get back to AEW. What's next?
Big tag team match, Young Bucks versus the Hardys. So this has been building up throughout like different backstage segments and on BTE. Matt Hardy's been cutting some really good promos actually. Bucks are in a down cycle period. I think this is a good time to talk about FTR not being on this show. For as hot as they were the last like 3 months, they did not make Revolution. They did not make Double or Nothing. I would only assume,
aside from the drawing element, why do you think that like?
I would assume that they are the next, like they're going to win the belts at some point this summer. Yeah, I feel like they're going to win the belt sometime this summer, and do another match with the Bucks at some point. But as far as the Young Bucks and the Hardys goes, I was talking to Josh, and he made a good point. He was like, they've never really done this in a major promotion before. Like they've done it in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
They've done it in in a much like kind of lower profile.
Didn't they do it in AAA?
They did it in they did not do it in AAA.
They did it in Mexico. I know for a fact. Remember the Expedition of Gold? Yes, that was in one of those was in Mexico.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would have to someone get us the answer in the chats. Like, how many promotions has Young Bucks Hardy happened in? But this is a big match for a lot of obvious reasons. Like, both teams going to come out. Jeff Hardy's going to be super over. The Hardys as an act is going to be super over. The Bucks are going to break their backs to make these guys look good. I think the Bucks are going to win. I'd be shocked if the Bucks lost. Don't put it past them because the Young Bucks will, if it's up to them, they'll lose to fucking anybody. But I wouldn't be beating them again so soon. It would be Matt Hardy taking a BTE trigger for me.
I think, who knows? Like, I guess ultimately the question is like, how many losses are the Young Bucks going to eat on pay-per-view?
They're on a streak,
but I would say there might be some juice in a like Matt or the Hardy brothers get like one tag title challenge. I think there's some juice in that. Is it now the juice being in Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy? I think that's past, but I think an FTR one will have it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like, and if you're not,
I'd say that's something to look out for.
Again, if you're not going to push the Bucks towards the belts at this point, which you could easily not do that, I think that could be a justification for having the Hardys win.
Yeah.
Then our main event, Singles match for the AEW World Championship, Hangman Adam Page against CM Punk. This is a match that is split the fan base, I think, right in half. This is a very unpredictable match here. I've told everyone for months on this show that I think it was Hangman running through this guy like a hot knife through butter. I haven't seen anything that has made me change that. I would pretty much be really disappointed if they did take the belt off of Hangman and put it on Punk here. It feels like, like Hangman has become, I think, for even those of us like myself who had apprehensions about him before his championship reign, like it's like he's like the guy that's wearing the flag essentially for the company that for day one. And then, Punk comes in and ironically now he's kind of the old guy like that, quote unquote, could be standing in front of progress, I think. And I think this is a lot of, this has been an interesting program from the standpoint of Page showing some, showing like kind of a more focused, meaner tendencies. And people, he was willing to really call CM Punk out on that Bret Hart stuff that people did not like. So Heyman was willing to be a little edgy. Punk has said a lot of stuff about Heyman. They're doing matches where they're using each other's finishing moves terribly to beat other people or whatever. That buckshot Larry looked abysmal. CM Punk. Don't think I wasn't going to get you.
Come on, man. I'm trying to drink some fucking water. What's wrong with you, man?
Don't think I wasn't gonna get you. And then Hangman was basically saying, I ain't no bitch. Like, and I fucks with Hangman. Like, and this is like the age old philosophy. It's like the youth. It's like your babyface ace of the promotion, or are you going to, cash in, the CM Punk title run token right now? And I don't think you need to do that personally. Like, I don't think Punk needs to win. I think, in some circles you could call it a mistake if CM Punk wins the championship here.
I think he needs to win eventually, but not necessarily now. Yeah.
So what do you think about this whole like build and the split and everything going on with this?
I mean, I don't really think there's been much there in the way of like personal animosity. I did like the Hangman promo talking about like the Bret Hart cosplay. I did like CM Punk's promo where he's walking around the crowd talking about how like, he didn't know if he can make it here or he can hang anymore, but like he's here and he wants to show people like I can still do this. I thought it was a cool promo. I even like the part where like, of late, Punk has like kind of healed himself in a way to be dismissive and act like he's like he's big leaguing Page. I like all of that. Am I in love with it? Not necessarily. Like if I could compare this to other things that were main evented AEW pay-per-views, it's probably on the lower end of stuff as far as build and then investment and anticipation for the match coming. But I think they're going to have a really good match at the worst anyway. And it could be more. And ultimately, as long as I get a clean finish, I'm good with either result, to be quite honest with you. Like, I think that Punk, given what he's done in the company so far, could, quote unquote, I don't mean like literally command, but like has commanded like that kind of eyes, that kind of attention, that kind of stuff he did with MJF, like commands like a reward, or necessarily, or kind of like a reward for like the level of what he's done as a talker in the ring, coming back. But it's not but he has, multiple years on his contract. This isn't the end. But if they want to continue this thing and they really want to cement Adam Page as like a guy for being this, a two-time champion down the line eventually, this is the match where like you give him that win and you move on. Like, a lot of this year was about like, and all of wrestling was like people got their big wins, their wins to get them on the map. And it's like, how do you submit these people to where like they can have multiple runs in the future, or you can submit this person's like career. Like, I mean, I'm mostly thinking like Kamatani and Shuri right now. And like with Paige, they've done that. They've done this work with him since he's won in November. And like, if he wins this match, like for me, he's fucking bulletproof. For me at this point, like he's undeniable at that already. But this puts it all the way over the top where it's like there ain't no fucking doubt that like this dude was like
he's the fucking man. Like
yeah. So I mean, but either way, and I mean obviously that's a arbitrary crown type of thing or arbitrary crown type of moment. Like the business. Like if Adam Page wins, like the company's not going to do better than if CM Punk's the champion. But that's not necessarily the point. The point is like with this company, it's been like we have a bunch of guys that you all remember. And they're going to be doing some really interesting things. And along the way, they're going to title shot with somebody and they're going to win or they're going to lose. But the main thing is to get the person that they're facing with like up
to another level.
Up to another level. So where they can, that's been the story of the promotion by and large with Adam Page and the Pillars since the beginning. This is another moment right here where where we're going to see more times than not, it's been to the betterment of the younger talent than the established guard. So, I wouldn't mind. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. There've been worse ideas for wrestling for Adam Page to beat CM Punk and then face Adam Page and then face Omega again. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I wouldn't hate that, right? But there's really no bad decision because I got to tell you. There's a whole lot of fucking money in a CM Punk Kenny Omega match down the line. So whatever they want to do,
that's
we'll see how this goes.
You know how Kanye used to say stadium status, like yeah. I'm Team Hangman on this one all the way. I believe so much in like making this ace run for him, this Okada like run for him. To really like, I hate to say cement him, right? But it's like to drive it home to make people stop thinking like, yo, the next person is coming to beat this guy. Like it like the belt, like, there were some people that somehow convinced themselves that Adam Cole was going to beat him. I, as smart, never thought that at any point. But I think from then on, it was almost like, well, the whispers that were around him, and there are a lot of, there's a lot of media that has gone around like perpetuating like, this man's been some type of awful champion just because he's not as featured or not as such of a strong personality or things like that.
That part's true. That part's true about him not being a strong personality or talker, but who cares? Like, not every fucking champion needs to be The Rock or John Cena.
Yeah, I'm like, if they want him to open with a 15-minute welcome to the show, orator thing, like, and watch pro wrestling one way, the way they've watched it for the last 20 years. If they want that, cool. Hangman's not going to be your guy. But if you want to come with what AEW is trying to do, like, and what they've like shown, like the, letting the champions kind of speak in their own image, like we would see Jon Moxley sitting in a fucking hallway. You telling me doing that is like any more like necessarily important than that's some like, he's angrily yelling in a hallway. That's his championship presence, like in a vacuum. That's just so superior to what Hangman's doing.
I think the thing for me is like this company has CM Punk, MJF, Eddie Kingston, Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley. If they needed somebody to carry the show from a talker's perspective, I could see that. They're good. They don't need another motherfucker that can go out there and talk for a long amount of time. They have enough guns that can do that already.
This is wrestling.
Well, obviously, you could say that, but I get the need that you need to talk to get people emotionally invested in your angles and in your matches or whatever else. I get all that. Not everybody has to do it that way if you have a number of guys that can already do enough of that work anyway. Like, you mean to tell me we really need in the future, we're going to need Hangman to come out here and give us a 10-minute promo when he's going to eventually face MJF. He probably has to cut 2 promos for that whole build up, and that shit's going to get 150 fucking buys. It's fine, guys. Like, not everybody has to do this one particular skill. Some people get over, not everybody gets over the same way. He's somebody that got over with his matches and his story. He's made. That part's through with. Like, as far as do you think he can get to another level if he does do that? Yeah, probably. But he's good right now where he is. Like, this company's not sinking it with him as a champion. Contrary to some of these opinions that I think are fucking wild. So, like, I think people need to gotta relax. Like, the sky's not always falling. I promise you it's not.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. And thinking about CM Punk, this is his first title challenge. This should do like
very well. It should do well.
Will they have a better match in Paige and Takeshita? I don't think so. No. But
no.
Look, no. I would have just taken that, as no another main event. But whatever, we're not here or there. But this should be a very big match.
CM Punk ain't never been the athlete Takeshita is.
Hey, this is a seminal match in the promotion's history, I think. And you start thinking about 2019, 20, 21, now 22. No Cody on this show. No Kenny Omega via injury. Like, this is like, there's shit up for the taking if you want to go grab it. So like there are, are spots open. There are holes to fill, per se. So, and there is like a changing of the guard feeling, I think, a lot on this card. This is the first like pay-per-view really since they've started like kind of shedding, or probably it started kind of last year, but we've seen more people starting to get shedded from their AEW contracts. And then like, these people are being replaced, and, who knows about Santana and Ortiz, a little bit down the line. So I saw Santana, he was tweeting his how many days till his contract expires. There's, a lot of rumors going on with those guys.
Do you think is that happy, or you think he's going to reach free agency and then try to get a best offer? Because which one do you think it is?
I would imagine there is probably elements of both. I've heard other rumors. I mean, you can take a look at.
They're going to get off if they reach free agency. They're going to get off from WWE.
Like I think you can take a look at some of his indie bookings and start asking questions about why he's getting booked as a single. And I don't know, but just gotta I think that's notable to point out, and actually learn that from shout out to Joe Lanza. He talked about point that out. That like that's interesting. Maybe people should keep an eye on that. So Sam in the comments says the casual fans can't understand he's the champ if he isn't telling them all the time with words. Actions aren't loud enough, apparently.
I mean, that's been a I wouldn't necessarily say a big thing, but that has been a thing with Adam Page this year, where like he's telling a story and people have just like missed it. Like that whole belt thing with Adam Page, like on the Go Home show on Rampage, with Cole, with the belt thing, like when the Go Home show on Rampage 2, like them booing him when he used the belt after Cole used the belt on Page. Like, it's been a thing where like people are like missing things. Maybe it is a bit too small, or too subtle at times with him, maybe, but like maybe. But like I don't really feel that way. So that is my opinion. Maybe I'm just too in my thing. But like to me, it's like he's over the crowd. The crowd loves him when he comes out. He has kick-ass matches. Like, he cuts these promos, and they're not necessarily like the greatest promo. He's not the best promo or even close in the company, but like he cuts quality promos when they ask him to cut them. Is he a person that's like featured as much as necessarily like an Adam Cole seemingly every single week? I'd say no. CM Punk, I'd say no. Moxley and Danielson, I'd say no. But like, I don't ever feel like I'm missing him when he's not on these shows. I feel like all these other guys are kind of putting themselves out in the sun a little bit too much, especially Cole. Because like everybody complains about Cole when he has his 3 3 3/4 star match or 3.5 star match, whatever. But Yeah, I think he's been perfectly fine. I just think people are looking for things not to be fine.
Yeah.
If things be better, things can always be better. But like at the same time, it's not like things haven't been great. Did you not watch the match this week? Jesus.
Yeah. So third or fourth Double or Nothing coming up. I was there last year. This is 1 year since they've been back on the road or in front of fans. I think it's been a great year since last year. It's been the pay-per-view streak has been great. The signings. This has been like I don't know how people can look at between last year and this year and then think that there's like things aren't going the right way per se. Like all they're doing is getting more talent. All they're doing is getting like people over. Like people aren't coming out and being under. Like it's people redefining their careers here. So I've just seen a lot of stuff from like the big houses that they've drawn, like the Arthur Ashe show, the return of CM Punk, the United Center. They've got the Forbidden Door underway. Revolution being a all-time show,
basically
full gear. Yeah, the Forum shit, the Detroit shows, like they're hottest tickets in town. Like I don't know what, like if this ain't success, then what do you call that?
I don't know. I think people want them so badly to like just.
They want them to not be.
I think it's two things. I think either people want them like to either one with like I think Meltzer says 1/13 of the amount of money. Like they want them to like immediately be equal, immediately like emotional, like or financially equal to WWE. like immediately, and also people that like don't want them to even be close at the same time rooting against them. So like that like. Both like the impatient, like the hating indie impatience combines to where it's like this monster of negativity at times, or just like of hypercriticism, and it's like, look, man, like WWE or AEW is absolutely not my cup of tea when it comes to their in-ring style or whatever else. But I gotta say, like, I enjoy the hell out of it more times than not, week to week. Like, if we were to go through it and be like, week to week, and we say great shows to below average shows between Rampage and Dynamite, I think we see more great shows than even below average shows on a week, year to year. So, and then they have 3 pay-per-views they have 4 pay-per-views that they build to over 3 months, like, and they're, and they end up giving these stat cards, and these shows are always great, or almost always great. There's like they might have one a year where it isn't great. So, I don't know, man. Like, if you were to ask me what's the best show I've seen this year, it'd probably be Revolution, that we went to. And I did not love that CM Punk MJF match the way other people do. I still think it's probably the best show I've seen this year.
Yeah.
What are these complaints in comparison to what? New Japan, Stardom, the E.
Like I don't know how you
Noah.
I don't know how you creatively compare them to WWE.
DDT?
I don't think WWE has a single. I don't think they have a single 3-year period in their history, quality wise, that matches this one. Like,
of course not.
Sorry, get your attitude era the fuck out of here. Get your ruthless aggression era the fuck out of here. Get your PG era the fuck out of here. Like no, there's no period of like a weekly television show that has gone as hard as this and then like grown the way this has. It's I think in a sense some people are being unrealistic with this, as you mentioned.
I think people are numb. I think people are like either getting numb / taking in, and it's kind of like what we were doing when we were talking about like that, that 2017 to 2020 era of a pre-pandemic era of NXT, where it's like people are kind of getting numb to like how great these shows are and the amount of talent that's around, and like history tells us that shit's not gonna last forever. And what do you know? It did not last forever. So like, I've I'm just enjoying the ride for however long we have it. Hopefully it lasts a lot longer than the shit, something bad happens and but I've enjoyed watching AEW over these 3 years. I really have. It's been fucking fun.
Yeah, to say I don't get it. It's I don't know.
I mean, obviously,
go watch Cody in WWE or some shit.
And they're doing well with Cody too.
Yeah,
but it's like, what else are they doing well besides Cody right now?
Yeah.
I don't hear nearly as many people talk about how well, how whatever Roman is doing right now compared to before WrestleMania.
There's nothing to do, James.
Well, that's because they have a booker that doesn't know how to get people ready for him. Do you think that Tony Khan would have this much of a problem trying to figure out how to keep Roman Reigns and the Usos interesting? Because I don't think
he have unlimited opponents.
Right. This is a Vince problem.
Yeah, he'd have unlimited opponents. They've stripped their rosters down almost to the bone in both senses, and it's why?
Yeah, and then and now everybody's well, when do these people in AEW's contracts run out so they can come?
Because that's who they want. It's
wild. It's wild.
It's amazing how does this work? This company that has no idea how to create stars or mainstream attention or anything like that.
Now they're putting up fucking countdown clocks for when Cody's going to show up on the 3 o'clock hour, the third hour.
A man that was run out of the promotion, essentially, had nowhere to sit. That man was playing a game, a Ring Around the Rosie, and had no chair available to him anymore in AEW. This is who they are putting up countdown clocks for.
And that's no knock on Cody.
Yeah, but Cody, this is what they've sunk to. This is what they've had to do.
Yeah, it's Cody has built himself into a main event talent, right? Regardless of the promotion, anywhere in America, he is absolutely a main event talent. He booked himself into smithereens inside of 3 years with AEW. And he's in WWE and he has a he has a fresh new canvas to fuck up. And he hasn't fucked it up yet, but
they're setting him up.
And Vince, it is coming.
They're setting him up.
It will be in the next it will be in the next year or so. He will crash this thing.
They're setting it up with that clock. They're setting it up obviously with them suits. What babyface wears suits like that?
Never really thought about it.
No one modern that.
I would say maybe Flair or some shit or whatever.
Flair is a career heel who would moonlight as a babyface from time to time.
Right.
So it's gonna it's real hard for the kids to dress up as Cody. It's real hard for the kid to pull out the 3-piece suit. Just saying. Oh, he just had a stinker with the Miz. Oh, okay, awesome. I didn't mean for this to turn to a Cody thing, but I did see a tweet that.
We've been good. We haven't talked much about Cody of late. We have.
Yeah, I think that was I saw a tweet.
I don't feel I'm sure somebody would disagree, but I don't feel like we killed Cody. We just he
kept it a buck.
He burnt up where he was at. He found himself in another situation. He's doing great so far with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Well, actually, it's unfair because I did say eventually he'll fuck it up, but that's also being honest. I think
that's just we know the work.
Either he will or they will, because look at the history of what they do. It was either one of them or both of them was going to fuck this up eventually.
Right. And I kind of brought Cody up because I saw a tweet that mentioned him and Kenny. They tagged him, said they weren't on the show this year, and this person I miss Kenny and Cody and all da. And I think each of them responded to the person separately, because Kenny was I'll be watching that shit on satellite or whatever, and then Cody Rhodes was I'll be getting ready for Hell in a Cell. It doesn't need me or whatever. I forgot what he said. And then someone had responded, he's so pissed he can't bleed in Hell in a Cell. He's so mad.
Well, I mean, people have bled in WWE on accident.
Look, you really want to be the AEW gimmick. You go ahead and bleed in there and take that $50,000 fine.
Is it $50? That was $250.
Shit, it might be. I don't know.
Well,
Batista?
I remember Batista and Jericho and Kyoto, they got the $250.
Yeah. Cody's gonna run himself into the cage.
We'll see.
But I think that's a good place to leave it, James. I don't know if you had anything else before we needed to depart for the week.
Yeah, just a short thing. So last week I said that I was going to I was thinking of doing a solo Joshi show to catch up on all the happenings. I was talking to JD from Red Leaf Retrocast, and he's going to do this Thursday come on to do a show with me / us. I don't know what Rich's availability is or whatever else, but basically since the Cinderella tournament, we have not covered any Stardom shows. We're going to recap all that we've missed up to Wednesday. Hopefully Sonny will have all the shows up from this past weekend, so we'll cover basically almost all of May, and then we'll cover the Nomads first show, which is a big deal because night one they could possibly the number 3 promotion in Joshi off night one, and also talk about Hana Kimura's tribute show that was this morning. On that show, Jungle Kyona makes her return to wrestling after tearing her ACL in October 2020. She had a mystery opponent. I don't know who it is. Don't tell me to write it in the comments. I don't look and see. But I have some guesses who it might be. If it's who I think it is, I would love that. And then the main event, it was Shuri versus Asuka Vinny, which probably outside of Stardom could be one of the best show matches in Joshi of the year if they do what they fully are capable of doing on the main event setting. Last year's Hana Tribute show had an awesome trios match, and then ended with a Asuka Vinny versus Kagetsu match that was 7 minutes, but it was awesome for 7 minutes that it went. So really looking forward to talking about all that stuff on Thursday, and gonna binge a whole lot of shows to catch up and recap that stuff and get ready to preview. And at the end of that, we'll preview Stardom's Oda City Gym show that has they're treating like a big deal, and has all the title defenses on there, and has Kyrie and Tam tagging together. So should be fun.
In the comments, they're saying on that show, if I'm not on it, James, they said you better not forget to hit the music.
If I forget, I'll still put it in post. It'll be on there for sure.
For sure. We still got a lot of people here on the stream with us, but that'll wrap the show up, James.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to rate us on our app you're using Listen This with. If you're on the stream, go to the PayPal, go to Drop the Bits Off. If you are listening on the podcast, go to our Circle and drop us off with a donation. And be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, Grown Men Watch This Shit, The Grave Consequences, 8-Bit Suplex, All Things Elite, Great Match Generator, Get in the Ring. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Meet the Power Slam?
Meet the Press.
Meet the Press.
Slam. Meet the Press Slam.
Meet the Press Slam, not the Power Slam. Meet the Press Slam and AEW Match Guide.
Pretty good show. Danny's been interviewing guys like different members of the wrestling media. I believe Jesse Collins was on there, who I've quoted a time or two on this show. Josh also did a show. So check that out.
Yeah, be sure to look out for that. It'll all be in the Social Suplex podcast feed. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later. Not gonna say peace or goodbye.
Peace. Holla.
So press stop.
Underdog Fantasy is the fastest growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.
Target has Laundry Day covered because they offer a great selection of concentrated Tide Pods to help with all your laundry needs. Tide Pods clean, freshen, and help rejuvenate your clothes with odor fighters and stain removers. Did you know Tide Pods clean better than the leading liquid bargain detergent? Tide Pods are powerful enough to make your whites white and your brights bright, even in cold water. Just toss in 1 Tide Pod for small loads, 2 for medium, 3 for large. It's that easy. For great value and convenient pickup options, get Tide Pods today at Target.